Hello. Hey, Doms. How was your interview? How was everyone's last week? Or this week that just passed? Hey, Antarctica. I'm about to start soon. Just asking how everyone's week has been. Pretty good. Good, good. Hey, Final. Yeah, I'm about to get started soon. I'm going to start by talking about the new moon that's coming up and the retrograde that's coming up this week. Good, good, Antarctica. I'm glad you found it. The, hey, Steve. Pull up my little chart. Listening while playing Ghost of Tsushima. What is that? Hey, Tay. It's really good. You know what? I don't know. I might get back into video games because I haven't played them in like a long time. Like a long, long time. And I was about to get into like Genshin Impact, but I feel like if your fan base is too crazy, I don't want to be over there. I know that sound weird, but they was being weird, and I was just like, oh no. This is too late. In the ruin. You know what? I might enjoy it because I've been rewatching Samurai Jack. So I probably would like it. That fall right into my whole little thing right now. Yes, I love Samurai Jack. I'm like, dang, I forgot how good this show was and how much I enjoyed it. I actually was thinking about, because I have like a little journal that I do, and I do like fan art and stuff, and I do like little layouts from like stuff that I like. So this last layout that I had, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't do one for August, but I feel like we're so deep into August, like I really don't see me doing a layout for my little planner. So I might do one for September because I was going to do Craig of the Creek, like do like a whole layout, like drawing of the characters and all of that, because I did one for Tuka and Birdie for July. But like now that I seen Samurai Jack, like I feel like I should get acrylic paints and do like a Samurai Jack layout for my journal and my planner. I don't know. But yeah, like I'm a whole journal person. Like I be like drawing and painting in there and like doing whole layouts like around like themes and stuff. I feel I'm slowly moving towards Samurai Jack. I might consider Craig at the Creek, but I don't know. I'm feeling Samurai Jack. Primal is good. Well, the guy who did Primal did Samurai Jack. That's probably why it's good. See, that's probably why it's good. And I think that's the same guy who did Dexter's Lab too. Or is it Powerpuff Girls? One of them. It could be both, but something like that. But that's why I could see Primal being good. Like I already had Primal on there to watch. But he had more than one property. Like he's good. You can kind of tell by the vibe of the show, because I noticed that his shows tend to be very cinematic. Like there are a lot of parts where they can lack dialogue, and it's very cinematic and it's very action filled without much dialogue. Like I actually like that about him. Like he can tell stories without talking as much and being obvious. But yeah, I really gotta watch Tuka and Birdie. Also Primal. I love Tuka Birdie. I don't want to say any comments about how I feel about season 3 right now, but so far I actually have a whole favorite episode. It's season 2 episode 10, The Flood, and I was watching it like on loop because that's how much I really liked that episode. But yeah, so I miss Samurai Jack and never really got to see it from the beginning. That's because they kept canceling it. But Samurai Jack is on HBO Max right now, but they kept canceling it. That's why. They kept bringing it back, canceling it. But yeah, I want to do that, and I'm going to check out Primal. But yeah, because I already feel like Primal going to be hitting, because I already know, like, this person can deliver. Every time I watch something up that he was involved in, it's going to hit. So, I also like Samurai Shampoo, though. I like Samurai Shampoo, though, too. Long live New Jobbies. Yeah. But I like Samurai Shampoo. I actually like their soundtrack. Their soundtrack was real good to me. I actually might go listen to it after this, but you know. But yeah, I like that soundtrack. It was really good. But y'all actually giving me ideas for stuff to do my layout and my planner, because I actually thought about doing a Harley Quinn layout, like doing a whole decoration for for the whole month. It's just all Harley Quinn thing because of like the Harley Quinn show on HBO, but. You sure HBO Max just purged a lot of Cartoon Network content? I know, but it's still on there. It's still on there. I literally was just watching. It's up there. I know they on BS right now, which I'm not happy about, because I started watching like I think like season 1 or 2 are close enough, and I like that show, but they said they canceled season 3. And I watch We Are the Bears. I'm watching that now, but I'm watching We Are the Bears Babies, and I love that show. And like I'm like, dang, I might do a layout of that too. So, but yeah, like if I like a little cartoon or like a show or like whatever, I'll do like the whole layout for the whole month. Like 1 month it just be like all mermaids, you know. But I don't know. I'm really in my like cartoon video game bag right now. So you may like Cowboy Bebop. I probably would. Oddly enough, like I was listening to Cowboy Bebop soundtrack, but I never watched the show. We Baby Bears is really funny. It is. I feel like it's funnier than the We Bear, like the original one. Like I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like they are funnier. You know. Hey Dion. But the Baby Bears are hilarious. I was like, oh my gosh. So now I'm watching like their adult selves or whatever, and that show is funny too, but the Baby Bears had me dying. It is funny. Yeah, I'm like, wow, this is funny. But yeah. So we'll see. I don't know. I can't really make up my mind and stuff like that about what I'm going to draw in my planner. But I don't know. It's something about the lack of lines of Samurai Jack. Because Samurai Jack don't really have lines. Like the artistic lines, it's just kind of blank. Like, I kind of like the way that looks. I feel like it'd be cute in my book. I gotta watch Cowboy Bebop. I got to watch Cowboy Bebop in middle school. Love cowboy cinematic and jazzy style elements. Harley Quinn on HBO. Y'all put me onto that. Yes, I love Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn season 1 and 2. First of all, season 1 I think is the funniest so far. I didn't think season 3 is still ongoing, but season 1 is funny. Season 1 is funny. The polar bear is too chill. I know. I feel like the polar bear is like a earth sign or something like that. Cause sometimes I be like, yeah, this has to be like a earth sign. Cause that's something that we do when we watch shows in here. You be like, y'all want to guess their signs? It is funny, but yeah, I'm like, he has to be an earth sign. Cause I thought he was like an Aquarius or a Capricorn or maybe a Taurus. Cause sometimes you bump into Tauruses that don't talk. Cowboy Western film cinematics. Yeah, I could see that. Ice Bear reminds me of me. I can see that. But yeah, he was funny to me. I like Panda too, because I feel like I understand Panda when he's like, I have to have my things. Leave me alone. I need my things. I want to exfoliate, get out my face. Like, just let me have my nice things. And I'm like, I get it. You want to be relaxed. Only thing, like, I feel like Grizzly makes me laugh because he always getting caught up in shenanigans. He kind of like gung-ho and just jumps into stuff. But yeah. But good show recommendations, y'all. Cause I'm gonna watch some of them. Next time, watch a lot of them. Okay, so we got to get started. But this week we're gonna have a new moon and we're gonna have a retrograde. The retrograde is gonna happen on the 24th. The new moon is gonna happen on the 27th. If you are in the U.S., I have to figure out what universal time. When is it universal time, or for people time zones? Because you could figure out when the universal time zone is. But if you're in the U.S., from Eastern time zone on back, but on Eastern time zone, the new moon is going to occur around 4 a.m. Yeah, so it should happen like early in the morning, like real early. And then if you know, all the way back to California, you go back, hour. Panda bear is a Cancer sign. Panda bear could be a water sign, to be honest. Plus, in Eastern astrology, it has a crossover into Scorpio territory based on certain years. You know what? I can see that, but sometimes he give me I don't know. I thought he was like a Venusian sign, when I first saw how he wanted to have all this luxury, because he's very luxurious, high key. And I was like, at first I was like a Taurus, but he not really grounded. He kind of emotional. I don't know, because I was like, this character could be like a Taurus or like a Libra, but he not really grounded at all. He kind of like luxury, but like emotional though. You will love Cowboy Bebop. The art and the music is dope. Yeah, I already been listening to some of the music. Like, I just never watched the show. Don't ask me why. I just never was like, hey, let me watch this show. But yeah. But back to the new moon. So it's going to happen in the sign of Virgo. Now, in the sign of Virgo, what happens in the new moon, like we talked about, like before with the full moon in Capricorn, now we're in a new cycle. So that means that the sun and the moon will conjunct, and so you're going to feel good. You're going to have good emotions tied with identity. You're going to feel good, you're going to look good, you're going to feel comfortable. This can also boost like relationship dynamics with the opposite sex, meaning that you can get along with them. So sometimes people have it in their chart where, I know how people be like, I can't find anybody or I can't date anybody. Well, that could be the case, because sometimes people's charts indicate that they will have issues with the opposite sex. And so, you know, but under these transits, usually people are in harmony regardless of like their gender. They're going to get along. So that implies like a man and a woman getting along well. So this also will be a good time for new beginnings. Understand a Virgo also could be dealing with like organizing, analyzing, and evaluating things. Getting rid of things is a good time for that. Correcting matters, being conscientious, things that do with health, body, medical things, work, your nervous systems, dealing with emotions of being shy, left out, not speaking up or when you should, things that are associated with like writing, books, pets, and perfectionism. So that's what's going to happen like around that time period. As we move further and further away, of course, the full moon following maybe like 12 to 14 days after that, that's going to move into a space where they'll be opposing. But during this time period, these are good time to initiate anything that you need to get in order, anything that you will have to analyze, anything that you want to start, like anything like a health regimen. This can imply a good time to start organizing those ideas, or dealing with feeling left out or feeling alone, dealing with issues of anxiety or perfectionism, any nervous issues, you know, stuff that center that, because that's what the sign of the moon, that's what it's in. Now, because of how the moon is placed, there are going to be certain placements that are more susceptible to the influence of the new moon than others. So the new moon was going to happen on, hopefully I didn't get y'all confused, but the new moon is going to happen on the 27th. The Uranus retrograde is going to happen on the 24th. But there's going to be certain signs that are more susceptible to the influence of the new moon. Because the new moon is in mutable signs, all mutable signs that are, and if you can read your chart, you'll be able to see this, but all mutable signs or placements that are within 0 to 8 degrees can fall under the influence of the new moon. So it can call into questions all the things I just read. So health things, neurological things, feeling shy, left out, doing things alone. These signs would include Sagittarius, Virgo, Gemini, and Pisces. So if you have prominent placements there and your personal chart, for your birth chart, it falls in line in these degree ranges, you could have some issues. You can have some issues, and that's not all necessarily bad. It depends how the moon is going to be aspected in your chart, but you will feel the effect of it. Now, when I start to do the generalized horoscope for each zodiac sign, everyone isn't going to be affected. I think the most so far, me skimming through it, that falls within the degree range that could be affected will be anybody who is a Gemini rising. If you are Gemini rising, just in general, because the transiting Mars is within the degree range where it can get swept up within this full moon, then you'll be affected. So far, everyone else can be affected, but not in a overtly direct way, unless you have it in your natal chart. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? So like, unless you have it in your natal chart, technically everybody else seems to be pretty clear, because I don't see any degree ranges where they necessarily fit that for any of the other planets. The only one that I see overtly here is Mars. So the main thing that you'll see also during the new moon is you're going to see things that center around having to fight to be organized, but having to fight to pay attention. Having to fight to pay attention. Fight for mindfulness. Fight dynamics. Like have to really work hard in communication. Hey Rex G. And issues around like double talk. So not speaking clearly. It can deal with playing games, mastering new tech, retail, flirting, lovers as friends, friends as lovers, those types of dynamics. That's what you'll see mostly swept up into this type of new moon dynamics, which will be interesting because Mars is in Gemini and the new moon will happen in Virgo. Those are both Mercury placements, but they don't rule the same thing. Gemini, action-wise, isn't about being organized. It's about being curious. It's about learning. It's about going out there and discovering new things and moving around into different dynamics. Virgo isn't really about, movement in those types of ways. Virgo wants to stay put, be organized, detailed. They both can rule writing. They both can deal with issues that surround the mind, but in particular, Gemini is going to deal with thinking and Virgo is going to deal with analyzing. Geminis don't really analyze things. It's not their job to organize or analyze how they think or thoughts or ideas. They're there to experience them rather quickly and they move on to the next thing. So there's going to be a push and pull between wanting to be spontaneous and impulsive with the discovery and wanting to move on really quickly. Especially as it deals with identity and emotions. And so your actions might be more spontaneous. You out here, you running around, you're more social, you might be more popular, but the ideas or things that are around your emotions, analyzing your emotions, analyzing your identity, thinking about trying to get certain things together or correcting things in who you are and feeling safe in who you are, doesn't really go with how you're acting or doesn't really go with the action in motion. So that's really the most interesting part, is because both of these zodiac signs are ruled by the same planet, but they're not necessarily in harmony at this point. So in general, like I said before, if y'all have any mutable signs from 0 to 8 degrees, the new moon that occurs on the 27th, you could be affected. Okay? And this could give energy where you could be emotional, impatient. You don't want to really have anybody give opposing ideas, or you don't want to really listen to other people's opinions. You could be aggressive, strong in your point of views, irritable, and it can also encourage conflict in general. It can encourage conflict. So yeah, on the 24th, Uranus goes into retrograde, and so what you generally see is instability. And since it's in a sign of Taurus, it's anything that's reliable, steady, consistent, anything that deals with certain forms of art. Sometimes you can see farming, but things that are consistent, a lot of things that deal with duty, those types of things. And so what you're going to see, because of what is placed in certain signs and within certain degree ranges, you're going to see the transiting Saturn and transiting Venus are going to create hard aspects to this retrograde. So what you're going to see is issues in relationships and love dynamics. And you're going to have issues with wanting to be, I guess you could say, wanting more freedom or wanting to be unique, or wanting to worry about the future. Saturn's in a placement where you can't just run off and do those types of things. So restriction of freedom, restriction of being unique. There will be more tight reins on those types of things. You have to consider the details, consider what structures you have to work within. And this is for just the general transits that are going on. But this is what's going to genuinely be going on this week. Because this is happening, because you have that Uranus and Neptune, Uranus and North Node conjunction under the sign of Taurus. Because it's in a fixed sign, and because where Saturn and Venus are, they're both in fixed signs. So that means everyone who has a fixed sign within the degree range of 14 degrees to 22, because Uranus is in 18 degrees. So yeah, so 14 degrees to 22 degrees. So that means anyone with a major placement in a fixed sign under those degree range in your natal chart, if you can read it, you could be affected. So all the fixed signs will be Taurus, Aquarius, Leo, and Scorpio. The only other thing outside of Saturn and Aquarius, Venus and Leo that will be affected by the retrograde of Uranus is the south node, the transiting south node that is in Scorpio right now. Okay? So that's what's going to happen just within this week. And that's what's going to affect, like, when I'm about to start doing your rising signs. That's the general consensus. Does anybody have any questions before I move on to dealing with the rising signs, or is there any confusion? Because I'm going to start with Aries. As a matter of fact, I'll start with whoever's here. If you put in your rising sign, I'll start with whoever's here. And, you know, I'll timestamp the video as always. But whatever your rising sign is, I'll start with whoever's here. And whatever's left, then we'll just tack them on in the end. Aries rising. Y'all remember your rising sign. So you saying, I'm probably going to snap out of this gig this week. You have a Cancer rising. No, Cancer risings are cardinal. They're not really going to be overtly, it's weird. Okay, you're not going to be overtly tied into this. This is going to be for mutable placements and for fixed placements. So Aries isn't going to be swept in with this week. Although Aries these last 2 weeks have their own journey with this whole issues with the family, Kundalini rising, family trying to get in the way of you dating. And Cancer has its own issues with Lilith being fermented in the Cancer rising placement. So they have their own issues with non-conformity, sexuality, individuality, and other mystery and everything else that ties in with the aspects of Lilith, like taking on challenges, winning, surviving. So Cancer has its own issues as it ties with like women, mother, traditions, like stuff like that. But Aquarius, so Tay could get swept up with this because the retrograde happens right in the sign of Taurus, and so because Aquarius is a fixed sign, it will feel the impact because Saturn is in a degree range of 21 degrees. And so it falls within the range that it could get pulled into this Uranus retrograde. Scorp stellium. So yeah, if your stellium, big pain, if your stellium is within, let me see, 14 to 22 degrees, yes. If your Leo moon is within 14 to 22 degrees, yes. If your mutable sign range is between 0 and 8 degrees, then yes, but not from your Cancer rising. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? Hopefully you do, but yeah. Everything else for you, but it's not your Cancer rising doing it. Your Cancer rising doing something else. You know, the Scorpio stellium, the Leo, and probably the Sag, like, boom. The Cancer rising is doing something other. It's not going to get hit overtly with what these two things are doing. They're going to get hit, like, that's going to get hit indirectly. And if I remember correctly, it's not in a bad way either. Yeah, so your Cancer rising shouldn't be overtly affected in a way that's too bad. I actually was worried about everything else you have going on in your chart. So hopefully that makes sense. So any other questions and any other rising signs? And if you don't know your rising signs, you can let me know and I'll try to figure it out. What do you mean it does? Cancer. Big Pain, what you mean? Makes sense. Okay, cool. So I'm like, it does. I'm like, okay. Because I'm just making sure you can follow along. Mine is Scorpio. Did you go over it yet? No, not yet. But Rex, yours going to get swept up in it too, because again, that's a fixed sign. So Scorpio is a fixed sign, so you could feel the effect of the retrograde because Uranus is fixed. It's in a placement, it's in Taurus, and that's fixed. So as long as it falls in line with a degree range, it could get pulled into it because it's a circle. So like it's geometry. So as long as it falls within a degree range, if you know how many signs over, because it's a circle, so you can calculate that they'll have that. So depending on the mode, the reason why the modes can kind of get into it, regardless of if it's fixed, mutable, or cardinal, is because they're all three signs away, and that will make them square. So that's not an easy aspect, that's a hard aspect. And then if they're in the same element, they're trine, so that's a soft aspect. So the ones that I told you are the ones that would have a hard aspect to the new moon and to the retrograde. So like those if that makes sense to you, because the elements are all 4 signs away, and those are soft aspects to each other. They're trine. That's soft. That's the softest you can get. That's why the new moon, it's going to affect mutable signs, but it's soft because all the mutable signs are soft. Oh, not mutable, my bad. I mean earth signs. So all the earth signs in conjunction to the new moon will be soft. Now other mutable signs to Virgo, because Virgo is, even though it's an earth placement, is mutable, is going to have issues with Gemini. It'll have issues if you have it in your chart where you're in the mutable signs with Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, Sag. If they're in that, because that's what me and Big Pang was talking about. If they're in that early, because he said he had an early degree range of Sag, well, he could feel it. He can feel it. So he can get swept up into it as well. Okay. Hopefully that helps. We don't have any more questions, and we'll start with Aries. I have a question. Does astrology come from ancient mysteries and Kemet? I'll do it real quick. If you want, I'm considering doing possibly a video about astrology, but astrology is old. It's so old. Like what you're talking about is like Hellenistic astrology, which it really comes out of Kemet. And I really do believe like even before Kemet, in my opinion. Like when we talk about, Mesopotamia, Sumer, like they were doing like star trekking, because you have to understand, like, people were not only just using it for like how I'm using it, because this is considered like mundane. People were using it for like farming, telling the seasons, also religious practices. So it's really old. But some of the like oldest organized, the way we're doing it, like, and technically the way it's organized, you can definitely see the influences out of Kemet, like out of Africa. So that's why, like, not to be offensive, like when people talk about astrology being like out of Europe don't have a lion. Why would we have Leo? Lions come from Africa. So Like, that's why when people say that, I'm like, but lions come from Africa. Like, you would have to go somewhere hot to put that on a zodiacal wheel. So, like, I don't know, but if hopefully that makes sense to you. But I might do a stream where we do like a deep dive, or do a pre-recorded video where it's a deep dive in, going over how astrology has changed through the centuries and where it started from, and how we got here. But yeah, like, you don't get a lion out of like Greece or Europe. There's no such thing. So hopefully that answered your question. But like, okay, so for Aries risings this week, I did notice outside of thanks, Sim. But like, outside of that Jupiter and that Chiron placement still being there, and you still having issues with family members that are still just going to be around. Capricorn rising. Why are you participating? Why are you participating? Outside of like that placement being there, what I did notice is and this is what I mean, like, not an overt way. So, and I'll show you, because this is the 22nd, and I'm gonna go to the 24th, where the retrograde kicks in. Okay, as you can see, like, okay, so here's Uranus right here. There's nothing that's going to connect this Aries part down to Uranus, right? Okay, what we do see is that Jupiter forms nice aspects to the moon, and Chiron forms nice aspects to Venus, right? What happens is, because of where Uranus is, it's going to make a hard aspect to Venus, and that makes a soft aspects to Chiron. So you see what I'm saying? Like, it's inovertly affecting you. It's not like a direct thing. So, okay, so what happens when Uranus and Venus come together? Okay, this is what I mean about relationship dynamics changing, or relationship issues. So it's going to aspect Venus. Venus is in Leo, and it's in the 5th house based on the rising sign being Aquarius. So in Leo, this is like love that is very social. Leo also rules lovers and flings and those type of dynamics. So basically being lovey. It's a good aspect and a good placement. So remember we were talking about before, harsh aspects and harsh placements. Okay, no, Venus in Leo is good. Getting attention, personality, being social. Okay, but it's with Uranus. Uranus is in Taurus. That's not a nice placement, because Uranus wants freedom, Taurus wants routine. It wants the same thing. It likes having nice things. It wants to own things. How can you own things if Uranus wants freedom, or they want instability? It doesn't want the same status quo thing. It likes the future. It likes the concept of the future, speculation, things like that, being different. It doesn't like that. So there's already a harsh placement. So when Uranus squares Venus under this placement in the zodiac sign, what we see is like lovers that might not want to be lovers anymore, or somebody falling in love very quickly, and that's usually not their kind of go-to. Also, instability, possibly in money and romance. Hopefully that makes sense, like me breaking down where Uranus is right now and what it represents, and where Venus is and what it represents. But you see how that doesn't add up to something that's going to be nice? That doesn't add up to something nice. That adds up to a relationship issue, or possibly a monetary issue, because Taurus rules what you own, and Venus can rule like monetary dynamics as well, like getting checks in the mail and type of things like that. So even though this isn't overtly affecting Aries, like how we talked about the degree range, but because it's square to Venus, well, okay, now it's trying to Aries rising, it's trying to Chiron there. So Chiron is about healing, processing, building a bridge in your soul's journey, and really getting the growth and development. Okay, well, there's something about this whole freedom or breaking up in relationship dynamics or switching up in relationship dynamics that Aries really like. So one could articulate, because there's still hard aspects with Chiron to Lilith, and it's in the family dynamics or the mother or with women. Maybe this could be an aspect that they can get their butt into gear, and they can start severing the relationships they need and to focus what they need relationship wise, because Chiron makes a hard aspect to Lilith. So you're dealing with nonconformity, sexuality, things where you want to be unique and independent and free, versus your healing process. And so seeing how healing could mess with where you are non-conforming, or where you kind of individualistic and trying to like push or rebel against those ideas. You also have Jupiter in a harmonious aspect around the 24th with the moon. So that means being generous. Sometimes it also means being indulgent and not looking at the details. This is in the 5th house. This could also be with lovers. It can be with where you're creative, with women, and also it can be with family, being hyper generous with family. So whatever, like that retrograde kicking in on the 24th, like it's stationary retrograde, so it's about to move right into it. The stabilization could possibly help the Aries rising, because they need it, quite frankly, because it's, if you've been watching the streams for the last maybe like 2 weeks, Aries rising is going to have issues with women, family, and tradition. It's been pretty consistent, while them also wanting to have transformation. That's what's going to happen. So this is how I say it can like in a non-direct way affect you. It's not bad because it's all blue. It's little blue lines coming from out of here. It's not bad, but it can affect you nonetheless. Hopefully that makes sense. Because what it does, it can also help with it can help you move you along with your beliefs. I guess that's the best way I can say it. So help you move from like that, whatever the conformity issue is. So yeah, that should help you. Now we're gonna move down to the 27th. Oh, wait a minute, let me look at something one more real quick, because I think, okay, the only other thing that I see here that can get you slightly in trouble is Jupiter opposing Mercury. Because what it does help your mind to be you think a lot, you're more grandiose, but it can imply like you're not thinking of details, so you can pass over something. You know, your mind isn't focused enough to catch on what it needs to catch on to. So you're like, oh, this is great, everything's going great, and then you miss over something that's really important. And it usually catches up to you, because again, the placement is gonna move, but it makes you more indulgent, but you're not really focusing. So you're in a good mood, you're optimistic, which is great, but you know, you're not focusing. And this can be in areas where it's at work, you know, so it's tied up in like where you work. And it really is details, because Mercury right now is in Virgo, and it's in the very late degree of Virgo. So details, health, it can also be possibly the health. It's in the 6th house. Dealing with nervous issues, dealing with where you're shy, dealing with not speaking up when you need to, or where you feel alone or feel left out. So yeah. Now we're going to go to the 27th, because that's the new moon in Virgo. Same thing with the Mercury placement, just Jupiter just slid up into the 12th house. And to be fair, that means it really means that you'll have some ease, meaning like you could not, in theory, have aid or help that comes very late or unexpectedly. You also, because of where Jupiter is, because where it is to the first house, you could when it was in the first house, you could have issues where you're being obsessive or over the top at work, or you have an over the top reputation, or you can have a lot of drive and beliefs, or like become very obsessive or addicted to something, which doesn't help because it slowly moves into the 12th house. So it can slightly get better, but because where Jupiter is, Jupiter now is like in a hard, these are all conjunct, and it makes a hard aspect to Lilith. And so you're going to have to deal with healing issues, obsessions, and whatever the thing that you're hyper focused on as it pertains to your reputation and power dynamics, being in power, your career. So yeah. And then Jupiter is trying Mars, so you're going to feel gung-ho, especially about like what you own, getting money, things like that, or even your self-esteem. You're going to feel really gung-ho, but you can also, again, because where Jupiter is, you could be oblivious, not paying attention. This also can imply being at odds possibly with neighbors, or something you're at odds in with the neighborhood, or with siblings. So issues with siblings by the end of the week, and relatives. So things like that. But yeah, that's what you have. And that's for Aries risings. Let's see. Any question, Aries risings, before we move on to Cancer? Oh, thanks, Alicia. All right, so if the Aries risings don't have any questions, we're going to slide over to Cancer. Okay. All right, so again, Cancers, y'all still have Lilith in the first house. So again, dealing with the ideas of sexuality, the ideas of winning, the ideas around mystery, being challenging and revolts. Also having the thing about having to survive, or having plant things, or things that you initiate, that you start having to survive, because Lilith also has a thing that also deals with having to survive the womb, or having to survive the beginning experiences, winning at any cost. So possibly dealing with things that deal with manipulation, and it's tied to Cancer. So it's going to be dealing with, like, again, family, tradition, mothers, things like that, memory, past, fantasy, deep love. So it'll center around that. It's still squared Chiron, so again, all of those issues that you have are going to be squared Chiron in Aries. So where your creative fire is, where you'll initiate things, beginnings, taking on these challenges. And so even though Lilith is good for taking on challenges, well, it's going to be squared healing how you take on challenges. So maybe you're seeing a challenge or out where there is none. Maybe you're hyper challenging to the point where it's too much, especially like where it is right now, especially in group dynamics in the 11th house. So if you have Aries in the, not Aries, if you have Cancer in the first, then that means that Chiron will probably be in the 11th. And so you'll have it in group dynamics. So you'll have issues around that. Issues with healing, issues around nonconformity in your identity. So your ascendant is going to be in hard aspect to Neptune, especially in the 10th house. So there are going to be distortions at work, distortions with people in power and your reputation. And it can just come off confusing. There also could possibly be deception as well. Everything that you think, like how your reputation is or how you think work is not how you think it is. Like something isn't quite right. Your ascendant is going to make a hard aspect to Mercury. So that creates somebody, again, very busy, can come up with nervous issues, neurological issues, but a very busy mind. A mind that thinks like basically is all over the place. But it's in harmonious aspect with the sun. So that means that you can come off very authentic, especially in communication, since the sun is in the 3rd house from your ascendant. And Mercury, you'll have thoughts around like trying to organize the home, but that's where your mind would run off to, or like hidden ideas that nobody knows. My mind is always busy. Yeah. So like hidden ideas, maybe about hidden ideas around health, feeling shy, feeling like you should have spoke up when you should, hidden ideas, you know, around wanting to get something back together or correct something, or, you know, get rid of clutter, or trying to be conscientious of something, or being mindful. It also could be about work. So when you're at home, you think about work, or you think about serving others and stuff like that. So that's where, because of where Mercury is, that's where you'll have that placement. And that's the 24th. Where is it? Boom. Okay, so like indirectly, because you're not going to get it overtly. So because Venus is in the 3rd house, so we would talk about change in relationships. The 3rd house is communication, how you come across messages, the way people see you. Well, you have the sun in the 3rd house, and so maybe that can affect your reputation and your identity, your confidence as well. So you can have instability there. I can see that probably doesn't help. My Chiron is conjunct with Uranus. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you could really feel it, because Chiron deals with processing. It deals with healing. It also deals with health. And so that could be like instability with health as well. Because like what Chiron represents. So yeah, Chiron could deal with contemplation, medicine, also grief. So you could be feeling grief like without any rhyme or reason why, especially if that's your natal placement. I could also deal with accidents and falls, which makes sense because like Uranus deals with like shocks and accidents and sudden things of rebellion. Things that are responsible and duty filled aren't gonna, you know, work out how you need them to. So yeah, issues with grief, trust, medicine, issues with survival, you know. Try to be careful, Big Bang. That's what I would suggest. So my sun is in Capricorn, so is there conflict? Well, if your sun is in Capricorn, it's cardinal. I don't know your degree range. That would help me, but the most that it would do, it wouldn't directly get hit, if that makes sense. Like Big Pain know his degree range, so he already going to get hit. So he got to be extra. He got to be careful. He knows his degree range. He has a couple of placements that are in range to get hit by all of this. Like bam, 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 bam. So if you know your degree range, you could just like look at it, be like, yeah, I'm about to get hit. Because the Capricorn is a cardinal placement. It doesn't get hit overtly. So like mutable signs, which would be like Pisces, Gemini, Sag, Virgo, can get swooped in with the new moon. Fixed signs, which would be Taurus, it would be Aquarius, Scorpio, and Leo. they'll all get swooped in by the Uranus transit. So you won't overtly like get it. So like how I was talking about Aries risings and inadvertently get hit by it, they would inadvertently get swept up into it. Not directly. Hopefully that makes sense. But technically, since it's an Earth placement and Uranus is in an Earth placement, to the retrograde, it would be trine because those are 4 zodiac signs away. So technically, without knowing the degree range, you should be fine. It actually should be kind of good for you. You know. So, technically speaking. Let's see. I think that's it. You do have like Neptune opposing Mercury, so it can still be distortion and confusion. Things aren't what you think it is. It really is giving distortion. Like, not things are not going to be how you think they are. Like, the mind is distorted. So it makes sense, just very involved, more than I thought. Yeah, like, you know, it is more than people think. Because it is math. Like, people just think people, and you know what, to be fair to them, if people are trying to scam you, I get, or maybe they're not as experienced, to be fair, like maybe they're new or they're still learning. I could see why people be like, oh no. So the angles is new to me. The angles been there, boo. They've been there. But like, if somebody is still on their little journey of learning, you know, maybe, you know, or if they're only familiar with certain concepts, or maybe they just try and get a bag real quick, I don't know, but they're not going to be, they don't speak that way. So I understand why you like, I never realized this, to be fair. So I don't get upset when people say that. I just think that they're saying it in a place where they don't understand what's happening or even how it really works. Like, that's not how they work. So, all right. So Cancer risings, we're going to go down to the 27th because that's when the new moon is. And it's going to be in the sign of Virgo. So again, the moon will conjunct the sun. You're going to look good. You want to feel good. And it's going to be conjunct your ascendant. And then you're going to have fortune there. You're going to feel really good. You're going to feel really good and you'll have a lot of luck. I'm going to be honest. Great info. Thank you for these live streams. No problem, Rex. But yeah, you're going to look good and you're going to feel good. So under this placement, you do. Because how Virgo hangs over, because all the houses aren't the same size. So it hangs over, but you're going to be in a good mood. And that's like overtly under the new moon implication. And so even though your mind is kind of like busy, because by this time Mercury should start to slide into Libra. It should be in the early signs of Libra, which next week we'll go over the Mercury retrograde that'll happen soon. Let me see if it fall in there, because we might talk about it. No, we might talk about it the week after, because it doesn't happen to the 10th, I think. Yeah, I think you'll have one more week before Mercury goes into retrograde again. But yeah, you're gonna feel really good. Your moon and your sun is going to be opposed to MC, and so your identity and your feelings are going to be opposed to your reputation. It's going to be opposed to your career. And I do suspect it's because of whatever the distortion or whatever wasn't true about what you learned about work or whatever's going on. It's also going to be squared BMORE, so having people possibly try to be, I don't know, try to make their problem your problem. You're going to be able to curve around it. Because you have Lilith here in the first house. So I don't know. Lilith makes y'all extra spicy. So y'all feel the need to be rebellious anyway. So I don't think whatever they're trying to do is going to work effectively. Because Mars in the 12th house does imply like hidden drive. But it can also imply like people try to, like in a hidden way, get you to do things. Take on their problems. You're in the first house. That rules the Cancer first house. Cancer rising. And it's coming down to here in the third house. You'll be able to communicate and tell them no. Now they might not like it, but it'll be good for your first house placement, and you'll be in it's a harmonious placement from there. Hopefully that makes sense. Also, Lilith is in a soft aspect to Uranus. So I'm betting that that's semi-sextile, because I don't think that's a full sextile. So again, Lilith likes being free. Well, Uranus is all about freedom. Y'all are going to be fine. From there, y'all won't have the issue with that. And then Lilith makes a soft aspect to MC. So wanting to be free, not saying you don't care about your reputation, but it's okay that you're setting the precedent for your reputation, that you don't want to conform in those ways, or I don't want to do those things. Or I want to do what I already want to do. Yeah, I try not to make other folks' issues mine. Something I had to work on. Yeah. So that's basically kind of the gist. You know. Especially with Mars and Gemini, it could be people trying to just, because sometimes Gemini rules like games and puzzles, so I wouldn't be shocked if people try to like run games. I don't know, it's weird, but I can see it. All right, Cancer risings. Any other questions before I move to the next sign? Because after this, I'm going to move to Aquarius risings. Did we do Taurus already? No, dear. I think you came in late because I was asking, like, what's everybody's rising signs? Because whoever shows up here, their rising sign gets to be first, and then we'll work our way back to whoever's not here, and they'll come and watch the video that's timestamped later. But, like, basically first come, first serve. So if you show up and you put your whatever your rising signs in the chat, then that's who goes. Let's see. 6. But yeah. Is that Capricorn? That's a little bit too early. Let's try, boom. Okay, there we go. Thank you for answering my question. I did come in a later time. It's okay. It's okay, but you're here, so that means that, you know, while we're live, we'll go over Taurus rising. But yeah, let me know if you do have any questions, Alicia. Okay. Okay, so Aquarius risings, y'all already have Saturn in the first house, so that implies that you're going to be wanting to set goals and try to conform to the goals, or try to, like, I guess you could say improve somewhere. Like, you have standards somewhere, and maybe it's standards that come back around that you thought about before, or something that, pops back up, but it's going to be a standard that you, or something that you want to do or accomplish through like hard work. Now, you do have Pluto coming in from the 12th house, but it's conjunct your ascendant. So it can deal with you trying to release subconscious issues, and work through them, like do self-help, or really trying to figure out what's going on with you, or something that needs a lot of willpower. So you're really determined on trying to figure out those things. Now, like we talked about before, with the Uranus retrograde that's going on, it does form a hard aspect to Saturn, and Saturn's in your first house, and the first house rules the person, the body, and who they are. So in a hard aspect from Uranus to Saturn, what happens is you have an urge to want to break free from restrictions, but life is getting in the way, and so you have a push and pull between structures that already exist, and wanting to change. And so again, this could obviously affect career matters, because it makes an aspect to your MC, and obviously the South Node. Let me see something real quick. South Node, where's the degree? So that's 17. That's 17 as well. What's your MC? 24. I think that's too wide. That is too wide. Yeah, that's a bit too wide. But wanting to do endeavors that are tied to your career, or having delays or restrictions in your career, or being frustrated with your career, especially because Scorpio is in your MC. So again, feeling like things are dead, or trying to revive your career, or you revive your reputation, trying to bring them back. You also have Saturn in a hard aspect with Venus. So what's the MC? MC record means basically the highest point in your chart. And so what it represents is power, fame, career. Also represents reputation and status. And so if Saturn represents hard work, tough lessons, karma, at times rewards, or authority figures, and if it's in a hard aspect with your MC, it can imply that it also implies delays and restrictions. So like if Saturn, which means restrictions, is in a hard aspect with your reputation or career, it can mean a restriction somewhere in your career, or something that isn't going your way. That's why last week when I was reading, I said, okay, this person really don't like their job, because everywhere where you had it where it could equal somewhere where you work, or somewhere that's a job, it was a hard aspect. So this person does not like their job. But that was one way I could see that. Like, okay, this person obviously does not like working where they work. So yeah, it's in a hard aspect to your MC. It's also in opposition to Venus. And Venus is in the 7th house, so that's other people. So that can mean relationships can be kind of an issue. Feeling at odds with other people. This can also mean you. My job is annoying. I know, because it look in the chart. It do look like it in your chart, but it could feel like you're responsible, or you feel restricted somewhere, and other people seem like they're getting more than what you're getting, because Saturn is at odds with Venus. Now, this can also mean like commitment, or sometimes like getting serious in a relationship. I know that sounds weird, but it can be like, sometimes it's read as those things. But no, it actually makes you feel like other people are getting things that you aren't getting. Like you feel like you're getting hemmed up somewhere and they're getting the things. Also can mean like also being thrifty. I guess you mean like restrictions in money or restrictions in how you spend or getting money. Because Leo means like awards and rewards. Saturn can be a reward, but it's a reward that you've earned. Leo can be like a award or something, so it can sometimes feel like your other people are getting rewards that they might not have like worked hard for, if that makes sense. Then you have the moon in the 7th house, so people who are emotional people, because the moon can also deal with like shelter and comfort. Well, it's at odds with you, so people who are supposed to apply some type of shelter or nurturing, they're at odds with you. Not feeling safe. People who come to you, they are emotional. This obviously can, when I be saying like you probably won't be popular for the reasons you think, this is why I say that, like you probably won't be popular in the ways that you want to be popular. This be popularity, somebody coming to cry on your face, and I'm not saying that to be mean, but like just imagine you having a good day and somebody like just start crying. You're like, bro, what is this? So like somebody being emotional about something coming to you, or somebody with instability or lack of shelter or feeling nurturance, they coming to you for that. Hey, kid at heart. So they coming directly towards you, so it feels like, what is this, you know? So yeah, you also have, let me see, boom, your MC, Uranus, Venus. I might say something to someone and they need emotional support and I'm just blunt. That could happen. That could happen, especially, it's kind of weird. Okay, because Pluto is where it is. So to your point, Tay, because Pluto, even though it's in the 12th house, but it's very close to the ascendant line, it can have influences that are much like the first house, because it's pulling into, the pull is so hard, it's pulling it into the first house. So what you'll see, can't help much, helping my cousin move. Okay, good luck, don't hurt yourself. So what you'll see is somebody who has a lot of willpower. They can get a lot of stuff done. They can also be in charge or in control of other people. And they can have a lot of confidence. But you can be intense, very persuasive, but they can also struggle with manipulation sometimes. So struggling with manipulation. So maybe people are coming to you and there's some type of manipulation coming in that isn't foreseen. Does that make sense? And so because they're at odds, there's be a lot of emotion, relationship changes, and you could deal with difficult and controlling women or relatives coming to you, because the moon also rules like mothers and family. So they can just come to you being emotional or controlling, but you have a lot of control too, so you could be also being controlling as well. Because technically speaking, with Saturn in your first house and Pluto pulling in, you do have authority, or you do have control somewhere with somebody else who does not have authority or control somewhere. So just consider that, because the Pluto placement can kind of make you kind of subjective. That's partly the reason why people have issues with Scorpios. They don't understand that Scorpios are emotional, but they're emotional about themselves. They're subjective. It's not objective. They're not being emotional about everybody. That's like a Pisces, or that's other things. That sign isn't like, I'm heal the world, I'm crying about the world. It's like, I'm crying about me, and some more me. So they lack in a certain regard, they can lack perspective. That's why people get frustrated with them, to be honest. So interesting. Yes, very interesting. Because it can imply power dynamics is changing. I know it sounds weird, but you have a influence, you know? So you have influence. The moon is in 4 degrees. Your MC is in 24. That's kind of a bit reach, you know, but if it was a little bit of degrees over, I would have said it could be work, but it's kind of a stretch. I mean, depends on your natal placement, but yeah, so that's what you're gonna deal with people who are controlling, but you're Pluto and they're emotional. So because you lack subjectivity, you know, the Pluto placement gives you authority somewhere. The Saturn placement gives you authority somewhere. Your willpower is going to be stronger than theirs. And I don't think that they pegged you for having that much control or willpower. So they're going to, when they come to you, they're going to be shocked. I do get frustrated with people because I want to get things done in on their own, but they need my sign off. I don't know how I feel about it. Yeah, so that's probably why they're going to feel like it's going to feel like controlling issues that spins out because of this. But try to avoid, I would tell you to try to avoid difficult people, and you try not to be difficult as well, because this could provide an issue. Although the moon doesn't stay in places long, the moon transits every like 2.5 to 3 days. So I don't expect this to be long, but just know around the 24th, it could present an issue. So yeah, it could present an issue. And then you have I'm a team leader of a project. I am trying not to be controlling or a difficult, I guess you're gonna say, boss or manager. I mean, I get it, but it's in the 12th house, so it's an unconscious thing. So I get like where the Aquarius risings are. They want to do self-improvement, but with this Pluto placement in the 12th house, it can bring unconscious things that they have not foreseen about themselves or others. So unforeseen controlling issues. Because like the 12th house kind of deals with like an unconscious or hidden level. Especially with Pluto. Pluto is kind of like a subconscious thing as well. So it's going to be unforeseen control issues. And it's in Capricorn. So Capricorn deals with work and career and resources and people in authority. And it's conjunct to your first house. So you're the person in authority. Does that make sense? Now, don't get me wrong. The Pluto placement in the 12th house is really good for your MC, which would be your career. Because you get a lot of things done. You have a lot of willpower. It actually does help. But maybe you could get into a little rough patch at work that is unnecessary. I mean, you can't control that the person is going to be emotional or acting in a way. But yeah. Because it could be at work, but Leo also rules lovers. So this could be a lover of yours. Leo also rules children, like kids, like, you know, having a child, like kids or whatever. So, you know, or being the center of attention. The 7th house also rules like partners, people you are partnered with, whether it's business partners, co-workers, you know, business. So yeah, I have no lovers or children. Okay. But yeah, it's unforeseen. As long as you know you sure where it'll probably come from. And if you know where it'll probably come from, you can actually just brace yourself. But yeah, that's the harsh aspect of Pluto. Pluto, everywhere else where it hits the chart, is softer. As it hits Mercury, is great for willpower, deep study, psychology, self-learning. Communication could be good. You could be good at public speaking. especially in shared resources. So anything you have to share, like so projects, marriage, anything that's a joint resource or a beginning or endings. You'll be really good at that because Mercury is also in the sign of Virgo. So details, analyzing things, where to fix things, also deal with work, 9 to 5. So it can overwhelmingly do well. This placement can do well at work. It's also in a positive aspect to Mars. So again, a lot of willpower, ambition, drive. Great for motivation. That means you probably could, if you wanted to, I guess you could work out or something like that. But no, it's really good for action, like getting things done. It's in the 4th house. So again, things that are hidden, family dynamics, things that you do in secret, stuff like that. Ancestry. But it is quincunxed, which means it's an awkward placement to the sun. The sun is in, by this point, it's in Virgo. So like your identity, having issues with identity. Could deal with power struggles and having issues with compromising, issues around actual leaderships, and trying to learn how to tactfully handle conflict management. And this is in the 7th house, so this could deal with, you know, partners, co-workers, business partnerships. But that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go see what happens with the new moon, because that means that the new moon is going to quincunx, which means it's going to be at a angle. It's not bad, but it can be hard to integrate. Yeah, so it's going to be quincunx your rising. So dealing with people who have issues with those, even though people look good and feel good, it'll be an issue with personality issues. Dealing with other people. Dealing with I have no lovers or children. What's the question marks for Tay? Are you confused? What are you confused about? What are you confused about? What do you mean by new moon? Okay, so a new moon, it happens every month for the lunar cycle. So when people say the new moon, the new Virgo moon, yes, Tay. So you see these two right here, how it's like this, a red circle and a blue crescent moon. That's the new moon. They're very close to each other. They're conjunct. That the conjunction actually implies that it is a new moon. So if you go to your birth chart and you see that the sun and the moon are very close to each other and they make a conjunction, that means that you were born under a new moon. If you go to your birth chart and you see that the sun and the moon are on opposite sides of the string of the chart, then that means you were born under a full moon, because the sun and the moon are in opposition to each other. So yeah. But yeah, this new moon that will happen is at a weird angle, and I think quincunxes are like 180 or 160, 150. Yeah, so it's not necessarily bad. It can present personality problems with men and technically with men and women. I know that sounds weird, but with coworkers, so like they could be a past issue there, because technically a sun and moon conjunct, it's not necessarily a bad thing per se. Usually when you see the conjunct, it's usually like people look good, they feel good. At the most, they can give people issues with I guess you could say emotions and identity, or emotions and willpower, and basic life, like issues and lifestyles and life issues. But that issue with other people is going to, they're going to present that to you, and it's going to be an issue for you, because your personality, that Aquarius rising, not really equipped to deal with it. So you're still going to deal with some emotional people, whether they're like good emotions or bad. Like, I know that's funny, but this is funny to me. Because I imagine like a dry Aquarius rising having to deal with like people who are like that. But LOL. It is funny, but that's what you're going to be dealing with. And I think this is it. Yeah. You have a lot of drive. But yeah, that's it. Your ascendant will be trying to Jupiter. So you'll be in a good mood. You'll be kind and helpful, especially around things that you own, duty, stuff like that, responsibility, being a leader, leadership. So you'll be in a good mood. Well, at least you'll try to be, but I don't think you're going to be equipped to deal with all of the emotional ups and downs of others. I'm not gonna lie. Any questions before I move to the next sign? Because we did Aries, we did Cancer, we did Aquarius. Let's see who's next. Okay, so Scorpio's next, and then we have Cancer, and then Taurus. I try not to dry at work, but it's work. No questions, thank you. I get it. It's hard. Now we're gonna do Scorpio risings. It's a little bit too early. Okay. So Scorpio risings. You guys. Okay, thought so. Okay, so you guys are going to be the fixed signs that get caught up in the Uranus retrograde that's occurring this week on the 24th. And so in the first house, you're going to deal with beginnings, challenges, who you are, and how people recognize you, but it's going to deal with past life debts, issues that you haven't learned or integrated well. You're going to be dealing with sudden shocks and losses, especially as it deals with under the sign of Scorpio. So under the sign of Scorpio, you deal with like stalkers, getting into the depths, having transformation through desires. And so maybe you have been avoiding, there's certain things you're trying to be superficial with. Scorpio isn't a superficial sign. It's a very deep sign, very psychological sign, rules psychology. So not going to be able to scoot around with that. Also, I have a Capricorn sun, Scorpio moon, Capricorn rising. Okay, dear. So we're doing the first comes first serve on the stream. So you came in RCH, you came in like literally like the last one so far. So you we'll get to you though, dear. But yeah, so Scorpio deals with transformations and endings and beginnings. And so does the South Node. So it's not necessarily a bad thing because of where they are. Scorpio can also deal with like winning and losing, passion and love born out of depths of passion and desires, and taboos and therapists and, you know, blessings in disguise, things that really not, it's not what you think it is, you know, hidden aggression, open and secret enemies, and stuff like that. So with a South Node here, oh my gosh. With a South Node here, you're dealing with lives that you're dealing with restrictions, challenges, sweeping change. It's going to be, it can be endings without long-term trauma, letting go, getting wake-up calls, the issues around karma and cause and effect and fate. This could also be seen as a fresh start in removing old patterns or getting away from your shadow self and addictions, and where you feel trapped and chained to things and unresolved situations, you know, where you probably have felt like doubts or depression. But basically it's about your soul's journey, how the soul journeys through things. And so that's what you're going to be mainly dealing with. Now, because where it is in your first house, it's going to be dealing with it coming from you. It's going to be rough. It can be. I think it's only rough if you're holding on to whatever the change is, or whatever. Because it's also a South Node can also imply like a fresh start as well, or things from your past, like things you have not learned or pushed through. So it's in a hard aspect with Venus. So this can mean having past gifts, so that deals with creativity or art, or past relationships that you have not dealt with. It's in the 10th house. So this can deal with your mother, your father. Sometimes the 10th house can also deal with mother and father. But it mostly deals with career, power, fame, those dynamics. You know, so not having issues that you've dealt with that around those things. It's Leo here, so it's going to be things that draw attention, things that are the center of attention, that are creative. So that's like a double creativity type of thing, with Venus being there and Leo being there. You then have it opposed to the Uranus retrograde and North Node. North and South Node will always be opposing everywhere. It doesn't matter where it is in the chart, but other people could want change and want to be different, want to start and end relationships, and you're struggling with the concept, which makes sense for the Scorpio placement, because that's just how y'all are. Sometimes y'all are. But struggling with the concept of the transformation or the starting and endings of relationships, or changing or shifts in the relationships that really didn't really see coming, to be fair to you. Because it just be a lot of excitement with other people. This can also mean, like, because of where it is in the 7th house, it could deal with like transformation of relationships, but it can also deal with like divorces, or short-lived affairs, or like being with people who are short-lived, because it's other people. This also can apply business and co-workers as well. So yeah, it's a weird placement. But this is mainly for you to, whatever the shift or changes, like it can give you a fresh start for you to sever whatever that is and move on. Because the Uranus thing is going to be instability from other people. Other people are unstable. That's what the Scorpio risings will realize. Like, these people are unstable. They're not reliable. They're all over the place. And because it's a fixed sign, Scorpios want the reliability. They want the structure. They want the being able to come there all the time for it. Especially around, because it's in Taurus, so it can deal with issues of money, where you own parts of your career, other people's, and dealing with others and their self-esteem, because Taurus sometimes deal with like self-esteem or where your values are. So maybe values are shifted. Hey Sailor Mermaid. So where your values could be shifted, that you did not really were able to really see for sure, but it could be changes at work, but you don't like it. which is fine because you're a fixed sign. I in a Scorpio, so I was not going to anticipate you liking it either. Then you have the South Node in a hard aspect to Saturn. Saturn in the 4th house could deal with having to take care of someone at home. It could deal with a family member or someone placing their authority in your home or wanting you to do something that they want you to do. You might not want to do it, but people trying to exert authority in your home or places that are hidden or that are walled off for yourself. Things that are done, but it creates a hard thing. It can create like a hard aspect because you have to deal with these types of people who want to be authorities in things that are private. So we also have Mars quincunx ascendant. So the restlessness of Gemini in the 8th house and shared resources, which deals with endings and beginnings, that could be an issue for you. That can be an issue for you. I mean, in theory, it could also rule like psychisms, but that can just in general, that can be hard. The moon and Lilith are trine. So the feelings of wanting to non-conform, they give you a sense of purpose and drive, especially non-conformity from tradition, family, women, mothers, being away from the past, sorrow, betrayal, not wanting to conform to like, I want this to be over. I don't want to be sad or trapped in whatever this is. So a sense of purpose, higher education can be good. Legal stuff can be good because it's in the 9th house. A sense of faith, having your faith restored, feeling faithful about having to go it alone or surviving, because Lilith can rule what survives. Then you have Chiron quincunxed the South Node as well. So Chiron in Aries, one could argue that that's technically a spiritual warrior, or wanting to lead or fight in a way that you don't want to, especially as it deals with work and the body and health, or having to analyze or clean things up, or they become orderly or organized. Possibly also being of service to others, but you don't want to do those things. Also taking on challenges. So since it's in the 6th house, it also means that co-workers, because 6th house rules work, people that you work with can be challenging or wanting to assert themselves as a leader unknowingly or knowingly, but it's not going to merge well with your personality because you're going to get annoyed with them. So this can also give you issues with discernment, thoughts, healing, and basically employees and orderliness. Dealing with health, issues with logic, processing. Processing could be hard. So I think that's it for the most part. I thought my weird work week was done. Nope. It goes on to next week. It goes on next week. You also have Pluto in a hard aspect to your ascendant, and so that can give you a lot of willpower and action, but it can also mean very extreme behaviors, but extreme speech that is extreme, especially coming in communications, possibly from authority figures or male authority figures or bosses, people in power, someone where you hold influence, or that is traditional, like old world views, but it is an issue with your personality. So another heal week, lol. It's not necessarily a heal week, mostly because of where everything is. It's a processing week. So having issues with processing the changes that are going on around you and not seeing it as like an L, like this is a where we move forward. This is a restart or a second chance, especially for Scorpio rising, because it's like a quick ends, but things can end without lasting trauma, or changes that happen without lasting trauma, which is good because sometimes all change doesn't happen smooth like that, if that makes sense. So yeah. All right, let's look at the new moon for you guys. Yeah, it's in harmony. So dealing with work, people at work, getting along, people who are influential, your identity is tied to work, men and women helping you through work, being influential to you. Yeah. So it's still good overall. And it's sextile to each other. So the detail orientating task, wanting to clear things up, is good for work, is good for your reputation. It's good for your health as well, which I can see. Scorpios are interesting, especially in predominant placements, because I think they can do like restrictions really well. So they can do good at diets really well. So this can apply like also like if you have to do things with your health really well, or careers in health, or having to go somewhere like that. But I also know, like, y'all don't get mad when I say this, but I do notice people with predominant Scorpio placements, if you share something with them, they be smashing. So like if you give them snacks, they eat it like it's gone. Like y'all don't have no, especially with anything that you share with them, they be wild. I'm not gonna lie, they need to get their own stuff. But I do know, like, I peeped it more than once, because for whatever reason I got lucky enough to be around enough Scorpios. I'm like, dang, y'all be, I don't know what it is with these shared resources, but y'all be wild like vacuums. So that's something I peeped. So me being in Aries, does that conflict with my Scorpio rising? Okay. So an Aries sun, let's think about this. An Aries sun is cardinal in fire. A Scorpio rising is fixed in water. Technically, no. I think you say, Rex, you had a Capricorn moon. If I remember correctly, I think you said you had a Capricorn moon. If I remember that correctly, then if it is a Capricorn moon, that would be more of an issue with your sun moon placement, because they're both cardinal. So that means they'll be square to each other. So your identity doesn't match your feelings, because where they fall on the wheel. Thanks for the info. No problem. That makes sense. Yeah, like, I don't know, because Scorpio rules like vampires, or they not saying that y'all are vampires. Like, I'm gonna try to explain this, but y'all don't be offended. But like, what y'all have, like, okay, y'all get transformation through desire, so that's already one. Like, anything that y'all desires is there, or like just ruling desires, period. But y'all rule like things that are technically like dead or like empty. So like you think like funerals, zombies, making it they y'all also have this thing where you make an agreement but with caution, or like, I guess you could say Scorpios rule severity, like intensity, like a form of intensity or something like that. So if you give them something that is shared, like a shared resource, like they it's weird, I seen it happen, like, and I'm like, dang, I might be on to something, cause shared resources isn't a thing for them. Isn't a thing. So I'm like, man. But that's something I realized. Like, y'all don't share nobody with predominant Scorpio placements unless you know it's gonna be gone. You know, take it from me. But yeah, they kind of have this thing where they're very intense. So like they share intensely. Like I said, share. You can't have it. That's why they're possessive. People like, oh, they're possessive. No, they're intense. It's the severity of it. So hopefully that makes sense. But anyway, if the Scorpio risings don't have any questions, I'm gonna keep going down the list of people's rising signs. I have a Capricorn moon. Okay, so that means that you must see your mother as powerful or having a lot of resources, being in the power or like influential in a way. The mother is influential. The mother is powerful. The mother is ambitious. The mother can play a fatherly role. The mother has a lot of determination and willpower. So that's what you see like Capricorn moons, and that's what that means by the mother. So a Libra moon, a mother that is a Libra moon, a mother that is a Libra moon. The Libra moon mother, she is romantic. She likes to have mutual support, or there'll be things around relationships. She likes to be married. Could not take sides. She can play in the middle. She could be artistic, like she beautifies things. She makes things beautiful. Could be an attorney. The mother is an attorney. The mother is a peacemaker. The mother is into fashion or a hairdresser or a barber. The mother is an artist. She's witty. She's laid back. But because, like Rex G, because his chart is the way that it is, there will be issues between the mother and the father because his sun and moon is square to each other. Yes, my father wasn't around. See, yeah, there'll be issues because they're squared. So the mother and father will have an issue. Something will be where they can't move in harmony. Did I miss the Scorpio rising readings? I'll go back and watch. I like hearing about everyone else's sign. Yeah, you literally just missed it because I had just got into Scorpio risings and how they struggle with the concept of sharing. So if you give them something to either like you sharing a snack, or they take it and they consume it till it's nothing. But it's because of how intense and severe they are. You know. But I noticed like if you the concept of having to share something, they unconsciously don't. So don't share anything with a predominant Scorpio placement that you would be upset about. So yeah. Well, let me see. So we just finished Scorpio. Let me see who's next. So we did Aries, Cancer, just Scorpio, Capricorn, and then it's Taurus. Okay, so Capricorn, then Taurus. All right, let's do Capricorn. That's Sag. There we go. No problem, Rex. Okay, so Capricorn risings. Let's see. RCH, if you're still there, you know, we're about to do Capricorn risings. So I know you came in late, but somebody has said Capricorn rising before you. So there you go. All right. So on the 24th, which is the Uranus retrograde. Let me see where it is. Boom, boom. Yeah, so it's not going to overtly hit you. So this will be indirect for you. Let me see. Boom. I don't even think you have anything that aspects anything else that aspects that in a direct way. Yeah. Like yours is like roundabout. Like, I'm not even joking. So I think y'all are really, really good. Like, really good. And I think mainly because it's a Capricorn, so it's trine to Taurus, and that's where the retrograde is happening. And then it's trine to Virgo, and that's where the new moon is happening. So you're not going to get hit at all. No Capricorn risings are going to be like breathing easy. So they not really, they trying to everything. They're in the harmonious aspects. That's funny. I've been told I've been intense and intimidating by others. Y'all can be, I can see why people feel that way. So let's see. Okay, so your ascendant is in harmony with the sun. So detailed tasks, shared resources, endings and beginnings. But you're going to be very authentic in how your personality is. It matches your identity. You have a hard aspect to Mercury in the 9th house. So having a sense of faith around ideas and tasks. And I think it's because the Virgo, even though Mercury's in Virgo, is too grounded, I guess, to really fully loosen up to get into like faith or having a sense of purpose or thinking about growth or expansion in those types of ways. Because the 9th house could deal with like faith and spirituality and like life purpose and coming up, just feeling fulfilled in those ways. And Mercury in Virgo is such a grounded placement that it just does not like the same things. You know, it doesn't, they're not matching in those ways, if that makes sense. What they desire aren't the same things. Your ascendant is quincunx Mars, so I mean the 5th house. So self-expression can be restless, all over the place. Could be aggressive or domineering in your expression, and it could kind of throw people off. Then you have Neptune in a hard aspect to your ascendant. Confusion in speaking. So people communicating with others and messages, and they're being distorted, or you're not understanding what other people are saying, and they're not understanding you. You have Pluto in the first house. So great willpower can get things done, like I said before, but still having the issue, if you haven't tried to tackle it, the issues with control and domination of other people. And it's in a hard aspect to your MC. So could be getting into power play dynamics with authority figures, or with like in your career. It's in harmony with your Mercury, so being able to do deep study, you can program yourself for whatever task you need to. So you can sit down and program your willpower for whatever you need to get done. Because where Pluto is in the first house, it's going to be kind of almost similar to Aquarius, because Aquarius was in such a late, because Pluto was in such a late degree of Capricorn, it kind of pushed into Aquarius. But again, dealing with emotional people, dealing with controlling or dominating women or relatives, also co-workers or partnerships, because it's in the 7th house. So people trying to win, or I don't know, not wanting to conform or listen. But yeah, you're going to be dealing with them to be very emotional, but you can also be controlling as well. So there's that. Then it's trying to Mars. Again, a lot of willpower. You can get a lot of stuff done. Let me see. Also, with Neptune in the third house, I would be careful with any things that you buy or any contracts, because the third house can rule like contracts to a certain extent, and like things that you write, and contract is a thing, and purchases as well. Did I miss the Gemini rising section? Yes, you did, Sailor Mermaid. Wait, hold on. Let me make sure before I trip. I don't think you did. Yeah, I don't think you did. My bad. I'm tripping. I don't think you missed the Gemini rising one, because we're going in when people come in and they just say what their rising sign is, and we're doing those first, and whoever's last, like, or whoever comes in later, they're just come in when they come in. So no, you didn't. You didn't. But because you came in last, then yours is, later than everyone else's. So let's see. I think that's it. Oh, okay. So you do have Neptune, the communication. See, that does kind of affect you a little bit. Okay, so the communication is aspect into your first house. So the Neptune placement bumps into your first house, and so even they're in a soft aspect to each other. So that means that it can help you with your spiritual beliefs or your psychology, trying to understand who you are and wanting to go in depth with spiritual beliefs, which is interesting because you do have harmony with your Mercury in the ninth house, which is your sense of purpose, even though the sense of purpose could really be like analyzing and taking things apart. So that could work as well, like analyzing your purpose, your faith, analyzing your spirituality, meditating, being one, like trying to analyze or be one with yourself, or like a wholeness in your psychology, on top of like the manipulation. That's why I said try to stay clear of the manipulation, because you do have a lot of transits where you could really get a lot of stuff done for yourself versus from fooling around with other people. But the problem with Neptune in the third house, it can give you misunderstandings. You can be kind of dreamy and unfocused as well, but very musical and creative. Very creative. So yeah, because it's in Pisces, and so Pisces can rule like poetry, artists, being an artist. So yeah, that it's good for stuff like that. But the Neptune is opposed to Mercury, and so again, bad at contracts, like thinking you make sense and you don't, thinking things make sense or they're clicking and they're not, like distortion in your mind or the distortion in ideas, if that makes sense. So but yeah, that is the retrograde. You don't even hit it, so the Capricorn risings are chilling right now, because they're in soft aspects to everything. Well, let's see for the full moon. Okay, you see this? So again, where you again being authentic, now we have emotions conjunct here. So you look good, you feel good. It could also imply good physical health, because it's Virgo. Getting away of clutter, sizing things up or fixing things that make sense, or correcting things that make sense, tackling issues of shyness or feeling left out or speaking up for yourself. There's a lot of harmony here. So really, y'all gonna have a good week. It seems like the Pluto in the first house is better integrated than the other weeks. So yeah, you guys will be fine. Any questions, Capricorn risings, before we move on? Because we're about to go on to Taurus. Alrighty. Okay, great. Taurus risings. I want to say this is like 11 p.m. I think it is. kind of. It's at the tail end. Let's go to midnight. See. Almost. There we go. Alrighty. Okay. Alright, for Taurus risings, y'all are going to have that retrograde on the 24th happen in your first house. So, even though y'all been trying to, you know, be different or try different things, it could come back around from whatever you kind of thought you could get away with or get rid of. I know that's weird, but that's kind of how it is, you know. So it is in harmony with like your career, or your MC, your reputation, going for what you want, going for your reputation, going for like power or status. It's good under these things because it gives you, the Uranus gives you the opportunity to really try transformation or try to be different entirely. Like, I'm gonna just go do what I need to do, switch up everything, bam, which is cool. But it's in a hard aspect to Saturn and it's in a hard aspect to Venus. So Saturn is in your 11th house under the sign of Aquarius. So that's a restriction in being new or a restriction in transformation because Uranus is the ruling planet of Aquarius. So wanting to be different, wanting to be new, wanting uniqueness with something else, like So having Saturn in Uranus conjunct means you want transformation, but life is going to slow that up for you, especially in the 11th house. 11th house deals with partnerships, not partnerships, deal with group dynamics, or sometimes being the black sheep of group dynamics, your hopes and dreams. And so what you're going to get, or like places where you can get help from, so it can be a delay in you getting the help that you need. It could be a slowing down of transformation, and might be feeling forced to go through existing structures to get the transformation you want. So it seems like whatever you kind of threw out with the whole Uranus being in the first house or Uranus moving into Taurus, some of it seems like it might be coming back around for you to try to understand what the structure, what's the importance of the structure, and not just trying to move around the structure or be done with it. It also, with Saturn in the 11th house, it does seem like possibly dealing with friends or groups of people that put you into leadership, I guess, or they kind of see you, they kind of push you into a place where you're an authority somewhere, you know, or your friend or the group becomes an authority, some dynamic like that. This could also mean connecting with people from the past as well. You also have it with your Venus in the 5th house. So creativity, self-expression, kids, lovers, romance. The 5th house, especially in Leo, which is the sign that's associated with the 5th house, dealing with lovers and romance, flings, personality being center stage, also socializing in general. Having a square there can mean there'd be an issue in your relationship. So a relationship could be coming to an end. Somebody wants to be more free than the other one. somebody doesn't like you socializing in the way that you want to, it can pop up like that. Especially under these hard aspects. So it can imply like a ending relationship. Venus also kind of rules money as well, so shifting in finances or like a finance disruption. But basically ending, shifting. But oddly enough, sometimes Uranus and Venus in a hard aspect can actually mean like commitment. I know that sounds, people be like, that's weird. It is weird, but it can sometimes imply like a love at first sight, or like a people feeling like they met like a soulmate or like a fling type of thing. Like, but I've heard people talk about feeling that way under these aspects, you know. But you also can see like basically a non-conforming love, things that aren't necessarily like status quo, because it's Uranus doesn't adhere to any of those things. But it's opposed the 7th house with your South Node, so dealing with relationships from the past, dealing with baggage and things that you have not dealt with, especially what other people have not dealt with. So change, transformations. My finances are taking a hit. I'm cutting off hours from work due to school. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I am sorry to hear that. But that makes sense, based off of kind of what's moving around, you know. But Scorpio, like the South Node move to the 7th house, could imply an agreement with cautions or having secret and open enemies, trying to become whole through others versus being alone or not being left alone, like people not leaving you alone as well, or like you being aloof, committing to the love of your life or a love born out of the depths of passion. Romantic and domestic partners and affairs, sexual attraction, and taking relationships to the next level, going into the depths of matters, cooperation versus suspicion and paranoia, judgment versus being wise and not suffering fools, transformation from societal expectations and by way of your desires. So because it's in the South Node, those are things that you can have sudden endings, beginnings around these types of ideas. Can you have karma around these sudden ideas? You can also have like restrictions around these ideas. So yeah, you can have lessons that you have not learned or shadow aspects that you have not well integrated around these ideas, and particularly with dealing with other people. So these could be romantic partners, these could be co-workers as well. It's crazy how you mentioned kids though, because I work with kids. Yeah, because Venus is in the 5th house, which is Leo, and it deals with self-expression. It deals with children as well. So the Venus is opposed to Saturn in the 11th house, which deals with the future. It deals with authority figures and being elected as an authority figure somewhere, and they're opposed to each other. So having a delay in your future, a delay from the future happening, but your money or your romance is with children, something like that. You still have Mars in the 1st house, but Mars in the 1st house is in the sign of Gemini, so there can be a new restless energy that you did not have before, a more social energy that wants to interact more, a more curious energy that you did not have before. It's in harmony with Pluto in the 10th house, which could be a career pinnacle, but power, like workplace dynamics, like getting into it with authority figures, could make it can make you lose whatever pacing that you've made, but Mars is trying that, so it's good because it gives you like willpower and drive to get things done. It's also trying Mercury, so thoughts and action go well together. Quick learning is good. Anything you have to learn very quickly, pick up very quickly, and it's in the sign of Virgo, so analyzing and doing things quickly. Mars is in Gemini, so that's learning quickly, having to do an action quickly, and the mind is detailed. So the body is quickly putting up things, and the mind is very detailed in analyzing things. So that's good. Let's see. Yeah, so it's sextile Lilith, and so having good communications around non-conformity or where you're unique, especially tied to, because it's in Cancer, women, family, and tradition. And so that's good because you want to be free. Y'all both want to be free things. So having the freedom from non-conformity in speech and how you communicate, what you write, I'm able to express myself freely. And this even can tie around the idea of like home and where you're comfortable. So you have your ascendant in a hard aspect to Pluto. Can have an issue with authority figures. You could. Or transformation in your reputation and work by way of your personality. Mercury is quincunx your ascendant, so your mind, the co-workers, something about your personality and the minds of your co-workers is an issue. Well, the mind around work, detailed task around work. Employees, this could also be health or like the physical body. They're not doing well. So either it's your co-workers or your health. It's not merging well together. They can create it's not a hard aspect, but it's an awkwardness. It's not necessarily like relaxed. The sun is in the 5th house in the sign of Virgo, so that means that you would have be authentic. I guess how you express yourself is how people can read it. It comes very true to how you're coming off. And then you have the moon in Leo. And I didn't mean to sigh like that, but I just know when the moon is in Leo and it's in this type of placement, I just sigh like ugh. But the moon in Leo to your ascendant, so that means your home life or things that you keep hidden or your emotions wanting a lot of attention, wanting to socialize, needing to be seen, needing to be rewarded. So like you're at home, and this could be women, family, mother, they need a lot of attention, especially with Leo can also be children too, so a lot of hidden or unseen attention that they would require. So but outside of that, it's pretty okay. But I do feel like because of the retrograde, anything you try to quickly moved over with this Uranus here, no, it's coming back to like, oh, you need structure. We just cannot just try to extrapolate yourself quickly from changes without life. Like there's a formation here, so that's mostly what you're going to be dealing with. On the new moon, so on the new moon, the moon and the sun are going to be conjunct, but they're going to make a hard aspect to your Mars. So again, issues with like identity, emotions versus will. In the 5th house, again, is due with lovers, children. But this is also in Virgo, so it could deal with like work, health, body, people you work with, stuff like that. Analyzing things, but it's a hard aspect to Mars, and so when Mars is in a hard aspect to the moon, you're very irritated, very short temper. You don't want to deal with these people, you don't want to deal with these things. Also issues with the moon, the sun, and so when the sun is in this aspect, people can't tell you nothing. you're very confident and sure and you have a lot of drive, but if someone tries to come to you with an idea, you don't want to hear their point of view. This also make you kind of like impulsive or like a speedster into like wanting to move in a very short direction, but this can also imply an accident or messing up somewhere, and it doesn't help that you don't want to talk to other people. But this is your actions, and this is in the 5th house, and this deals with lovers, and deals with children and your expression and your creative expression. What's interesting is that the sun and the moon is conjunct, but it makes a harmonious aspect to your ascendant, which is your personality. And so all of this is great for your personality, and it's terrible for your actions. Great for personality, horrible for actions. Great for how people recognize you, also starting and beginning things, the face you show the world, but it's not necessarily good for action, to a larger extent, taking on challenges, things like that. So I do find that interesting. Because Mars deals with like battles, adversaries, sporting events, confronting people or like bullies, or defending a position you've earned, or like a struggle. We can deal with law enforcement, or like ambition, pushing ahead, or like enthusiasm. It's not really good for that. It's not really good for those types of things, but it is good for like your appearance, your physical body, because that's what the 1st house is. It's good for like your health, your vitality, your recognition, reputation, things that you have to do in a solitary, or like alone, or being singled out, or like mannerisms or forms of destiny that you have to take in. Structure definitely seems to be a theme for me lately, taking heed to it. Trying to fight a structure, you need structure. You can't just jump out of it like that. That's why you keep bumping into like life just keeps coming here. Like, it's great, the transformation and wanting to be new, cool, but or wanting something different, that's great, because that's half of people's problem, to be honest. The downside is, you're not thinking about life constraints, because life happens, so you're just jumping out there. That's the bad part. And that's why it keeps coming back, because you have not dealt with finding out what the structure is. You're just out here just jumping, Mars is also in a harmonious aspect to Jupiter, but Jupiter's in the 12th house. So Jupiter in the 12th house creates help in the nick of time. You know how like you hear that song from church, like late in the midnight hour, God's gonna turn it around. It kind of creates that type of energy. But because it's with Mars, it also can imply that you're doing things, you're optimistic, but you're doing things and it's kind of like oblivious, kind of like too lackadaisical to actually focus on the task at hand. And so because it's in Gemini has to focus on paying attention, being mindful. That's the main thing. Are you mindful? So you're not being mindful of how you're moving. That's why you also have this whole past life thing in the 7th house, because it battles the idea of you transforming yourself versus finding transformation through relationships. That's why also Venus is in a hard aspect to the Uranus part right here. So Uranus is in 1st house, and once transformation is a hard aspect to Venus. So relationships can take a tank because you don't believe in transformation through relationships at this time. Now your natal placement can obviously change a lot of this, because usually when you do a transiting placement and you put it over top of the birth chart, it fills it in a way that's much different than this just the transit. And plus the birth charts tell also additional parts of the story of how else is going to happen. So this is just generalized. But there's an issue where you feel like you can't transform without getting rid of a lot of things, which is moving on. And I'm here to tell you that that's not true. And learning how to deal with other people and learning transformation through relationships. So every time you would like to be different and change doesn't mean that the relationships or dealing with other people will have to change. That probably also why, no shade, you got Scorpio in the 7th. It can also make unnecessary ops as well. Unnecessary enemies or unnecessary issues in those types of ways. Because see, the 7th house rules open enemies. Scorpio rules hidden and open enemies. So you got a double open enemy problem. And it's in the south node. So issues from the past from like a open enemy. Or like a Scorpio rules hidden aggression. So boom, boom. So you can't just discard people or discard things in this way. Learn to actually use them properly. And I'm not talking about using and like this person used me, but like relationships can be a place of transformation. You know, it can really heal people. You can't transform relationship issues outside of relationships. You need another person to actually work through your relationship issues. Now, a therapist does help, but you get what I'm getting at here. If you want to get good at a relationship, you actually have to have them. It's like saying, I want to be a good friend to somebody, but you don't have any friends. You actually have to like get friends first step first. You know, well, I want to be that coworker that everybody like, okay, get a job. And after you get a job, you got to actually like work on like a business relationship with other people. That's good. But this Uranus thing is great for career resources because it's in Capricorn. Capricorns rule like banks. It rules power, people power, being thrusted into power. Great for that. Relationship issues are something else because the 11th house, you have Saturn here. That's friends. That's people that you seek for help. That's a hard aspect. That's not good. The 7th house deals with co-workers, other people, romance, soulmates. That's not good. It's hard. 5th house deals with lovers. You have Venus there. It's a hard aspect. That's hard. So like any way you interact with people, there's a hard aspect. That's not good. That's not good. What do we do if we want to put ourselves out there but we shy? That makes sense because you want to know why. So remember when I talked about the sun and them? Well, Alicia, you came a little bit late. So you missed the earlier conversation that I had about the new moon in the sign of Virgo. So Virgo can rule shyness, and it can also rule not speaking up when you should, or feeling alone, or feeling left out. So you see this little part right here. Hopefully this is big enough. I might have to get bigger charts so when I start getting the little clicker so y'all can see what I'm looking at when I talk. The sun and the moon sign. So this red circle with a dot in the middle and then this blue crescent moon. You see how it makes a blue line all the way up here to this black line that says ascendant, ASC. But it makes a hard line to the Mars sign, this red sign right here under the sign of Gemini. So this is what I said. It's great for your personality. So you are very aware that I know that I feel shy. I know that I feel left out, blah, blah, blah. Bad for actions because you not being mindful that this is an issue, not paying attention, being clever but being superficial, not really getting down. Your actions don't really get down to what's really happening or what's the issue. Because Virgo, that placement, they want to actually fix the mess. They want to actually get deep into it. A Gemini does not want to, and your Mars is in that. So you can see what the issue, you know what the issue is. Like on some Jay-Z-ish. You know what the issue is? Do you know what the issue is? Okay, so we all know what the issue is. Okay, your actions don't line up with what you already know. Because the sun and the moon are conjunct, so that means your feelings and your identities, it can be a basic need issue, but since they're conjunct, there's harmony there. So you can, and most of the time, in theory, you look good, you feel good, but you're very aware about the emotional and identity implications. And it's in the 5th house. And the 5th house deals with romance. So you're being analytical because of the sign of Virgo. In the 5th house, it deals with romance. It deals with socializing, sporting events. So you're very aware that your personality is an issue. But you're not going to do anything because your Mars is in a hard aspect to that placement. And it doesn't help that Venus is in a hard aspect to Uranus, which is in the 1st house. So the sense of freedom versus love and romance. So if you want to put yourself out there and you're shy about it, first of all, one, acknowledging that is half the battle. The second part of it is what are you shy in particular about? Because I'm gonna be honest, the worst thing someone can say is no to you. After we get past the no, we're free. The worst thing someone can do is string you along because they're wasting your time. We're not getting any younger. Shoot your shot. Exactly, Leon. The worst they can say is no. And so after you get your no, you already going to know what that disappointment feel like. You already know what it feels like. We can move on. Once you get past this part, Alicia, you're going to laugh. But like, once you look back at this moment in the future, you're going to realize that this is not the part that's like the hardest. The hardest part is when you're trying to determine if somebody really, really likes you, how you like them. Because there's no way to put yourself out there without getting hurt. That's not how love works. Love is open, love is vulnerable, and it's hard. Because it doesn't require you to have ego. And so what you want, that's why you're shy about it and you have an issue. You want real love and you want a real connection. There's no way to do it without actually doing it. And that's like trying to halfway raise a baby. You can't. You're either going to be a great parent or you're going to be kind of a mess. Some parents have that, everybody has their issues, but you know what I'm talking about. Like either you're going to be, taking care of your child, or you can't like I halfway took care of it. No, you didn't do well. You didn't do well. That's like being halfway pregnant. You can't. So there's no way to get what you want doing it a little bit. So we are all going to send you our thoughts and prayers so that way you can feel encouraged. And don't get me wrong, it is hard dating, especially out here, because people are crazy, and people are off the hook. But you have my support, and the people in the chat are supporting you. And when you're ready, hopefully you can use this new moon as a time to like reflect on the issues that you have with trying to put yourself out there, or trying to date, or feel the confidence to do those types of things. This is a fact. I had to go through like 25 dubs before finding my love. It happens. It's so normal. I know people try to act like, especially on social media. That's why, first off, don't even get on there, because I'm not trying to be mean, but I feel like those are a bunch of like bitter Beckys, and some of them are losers, because they don't want you to feel happy or try to find love, because they're upset about what happened to them. So like people who come with like weird things, they're just weird. They're weird because they want to be in love and they can't. So you do that. The next step is also understanding. I've talked to a lot of people, and sometimes when I do client readings, people, they want to be in love or they want romance, but when I talk to them and I ask them, well, what are your interests? Oh, I like video games or blah blah blah. Okay, so is anyone in the area, or there's a collective area you can meet people that like that? Oh no. Okay, so do you go to like conventions to meet like other like, okay, you a nerd, so do you go where other nerds are? No. Okay, so you're not going to meet people who have similar interests. You're not. People have to put in work. It's not easy. It's not easy. I think some people get distorted about, some people, they do fall in love very quickly and very easily. A lot of people, it takes them a lot of work. It takes them a lot of work to do that. You have to put in work. You can't just hope they're going to walk in. You have to go look for these people. And then you have to vet them out to see if they're worthy of you building a life with them and them building a life with you. And also you have to know what you like. That could be an issue too. Maybe you don't know what you like. You have to know what you're looking for. And so sometimes you date to figure out what you like or what you're looking for as well. So there's a lot of things to cover with that, but you do have to, I want you to think about that first. I don't want you to just jump out there, but think about what you like. What are you looking for? What are you attracted to? Think about your sexuality as well. Like, how do you want your partner to interact with you, like in all your facets? Like, how do you want to do your career, your spiritual development? Do you want kids? If you don't want kids, do you want to be married? Um, where's your how do you want to deal with like strangers, your friends? Like, think about your life in totality. And so this would give you a direction. You need to figure out what your personal values are, so when you date other people, you're not confused. So if they don't match up, they can be really great people, but they don't match up. So for instance, if you want a baby and they don't, you don't keep dating them. You politely excuse yourself. You know? So if that matters to you, you know, if you want to be married and they don't, then you move on. You know? If you want, like, I don't know, if you want, you know, your boo to come with you every weekend to get your hair done and they don't like to do that, then okay, well, you find somebody who like what you like. Y'all, you gotta find somebody who's into what you're into. Thank you, Dion and BMORE. I've always been shy because I'm not too sure if others will like my personality since I'm quirky. I've had a hard time with friendships too. I'm sorry to hear that. Girls get a pass on that, especially if y'all cute. Dion's not lying. They are nicer to weird girls than to like boys. So actually, you're okay. The quirky girls is out. I actually consider myself a quirky girl or a weird girl. You're fine. Just get out here. Now, don't get out here before you think about what you want, because you're going to waste your own time. And you can't blame anybody else because you haven't really thought about it. Even if you don't, if you say, oh, Alicia, what do I want? I don't know. Well, let me just see what's out here. That's one thing. But, you know. But you actually apply thoughts, you know. And then, like, commence. But don't be sad, you know. Because you got people in here telling you they dated 25 people and they that's when they found the person. Don't get on the internet looking for relationship advice, because they're weird. They're going to tell you men ain't nothing, women ain't nothing, the world's burning down. No. You move on and you figure out what you need to do. That's what you do. So, go be happy. All right. What's today? What is this? 27th. Alicia, come up with a line as an icebreaker. Mine is, can I give you a reading? Candy. Ain't much, but it works. I'm dead. Well, Candy, you don't know if Alicia can read cards, but you know what? Facts though. If that's what you gotta do. Oh, you know it works, and it do work though. It do work, because I had pulled this before. Act like you lost and you asked them, can they help you? I'm so lost. How do I get the blah blah blah? Sucker, got him. Can you walk me? That I always act like I'm lost. I don't care if I live there every day. Like I lived here for the past 20 years. I will pretend I'm lost. The pull them. That's how you do. But you got to figure out whatever yours is. Because Candy over there doing fake tarot readings. And she up there lying, talking about something. You going to meet the love of your life today. She over there lying. And then when they be like, what she look like? And then she describe herself. Candy like, yeah, she's dark skin, cute, her name begin with a K. I'm like, I'm dead. Not making it up on the spot. I'm weak. Yeah, she's gonna sit up there and describe herself. I'm dead. And you know how they be like, what's the letters? And she put the letters to her name up there. I'm dead. Well, the world is burning, but that's a string for another day. True, but if it's burning, that shouldn't stop you from going to get what you need to get. At least it's burning and I'm in love. I'm okay with that. You can do it. Go find your frog. I'm gonna have to think of something. Yeah, you gotta think of something. That's what you gotta come up with something. They giving you good people giving you good tips in here. You got to come up with something that you can, break the ice with. Convince them to start talking to you. You got it. All right. Let's see. What's next? Okay, so we just did Taurus. We already did Capricorn. We already did Scorpio. Okay, so we about to do Gemini rising. Okay. Any questions, anybody? This is good stuff. Yeah, I mean, I would never, I'm not a person who tell people they can't find love. I don't like none of that. I feel like that's very destructive, and love is really the ground bed of the universe. You don't do stuff like that. I just feel like that's weird. Now some people in their chart, like I said before, they have it where romance is hard for them. Like they can have issues with the opposite sex or the same sex as in their chart, but you don't do stuff like that. I don't like none of that internet culture, scratching at men and women scratching at, I don't like all of that weird stuff. I don't. Go be happy. I'm endorsing anyone to find a little bit of happiness. Life is already hard. Thanks, yo. This gave me more confidence. Yeah, boost your confidence up. Yeah, that's okay. You got this. But also, because it is a Virgo moon placement, if it is deep issues, you could also possibly, depending on like what's going on with your insurance, if you have any. But you could also like get maybe a life coach or like a therapist or something like that can help you deal with any other issues that is dealing with romance. If it's just shyness, then you probably could just get like a little life coach or something. If it's like other deep rooted issues that you have to work through, you could start looking for a therapist to help you like really work through those issues dealing with like socializing and dealing with people, because it's hard because people need other people. So like I can only imagine like having issues socializing with people while also wanting to be in love. That's very hard. That's a very hard thing to deal with or cope with. So you got my compassion. It's already hard out here. These people are weird. Alrighty, so Gemini risings. Okay, you have Mars in the first house. See, trine here. Trine Mercury. Okay. Where is it? Let me go back, because this is 2-4. Let me go back. Because you do Leos. No, next century. But it's good that you put it in here, because y'all can go next. Let me see. No problem, dear. Alrighty. think this is good. Okay, this is good. Alrighty. I'm not gonna do that. Okay, so it's gonna be in the 4th. Alright, so for Gemini risings, so the 24th, again, like we talked about, I do encourage anybody who came in late to rewatch the video, just in case, because you did a breakdown, because this week is going to have a new moon in Virgo, and then we're going to also have the retrograde of of Uranus in the sign of Taurus. BMORE did Aries, Cancer, Aquarius, Cat, Scorp. Yeah, I did Taurus as well. So the only ones I have not done yet, for people if you're just coming in, is Pisces, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Sag. So those are the ones that I have not done yet. I'm doing Gemini now. So yeah. But yeah, so let me see. Yeah, so Gemini risings, y'all have Mars in the 1st house, so it gives you a lot of drive, confidence, but accidents, restlessness, because now it's in your sign of Gemini. Now it's in the actual zodiac sign. It's not in the 12th house where it's like hidden things, but it's coming to the forefront, so you'll see more curious things. It can also make you a public speaker, or like being good with like I guess you could say like interacting with people, and it could give you a lot of success, like meaning like your ambition can create success for you. Now let's see, it is trine, or it's in a harmonious aspect to your MC, so you know your effort and your drive and success can create a good reputation for you, and it could also impress authority figures, especially since Saturn is here in the 10th house. Especially reputations, dealing with authority, dealing sometimes even with parental figures as well. Is in a harmonious aspect to Pluto in the 9th house, and Pluto in the 9th house deals with knowledge, higher learning, spirituality. Not good for legal issues. If you have legal issues or resources that are tied to legal issues, that's not a great aspect when Pluto is in that house. But it's great for motivation and willpower. And so you have Mars here and you have Pluto there with like willpower and action. You can get a lot of things done. So it's also trine, let me see, it's also trine Mercury, so, and it's in the 5th house, so lovers, creativity, socializing, wanting to be out and about, but it's in Virgo, so Virgo is going to want analyzing details, sometimes charity and being of service to other people. And so maybe you're being of service to lovers, or being of service to your children, but it's in a harmonious aspect to Mars, and so that's going to come up with ideas around like quick learning or being able to do tasks rather quickly. So the mind will pick up the analyzation skills well, and the body will do the curiosity or like impulse things. Also could possibly, it's harmonious, but it could also imply restless issues because it is a Gemini and Virgo aspect, and they both can have like nervous issues for different reasons. Let's see, Mars is in a hard aspect with the sun, so again, strong in your identity, but nobody can really tell, having issues with other people's point of views, having issues with identity at home, or hidden identities that you did not kind of see present, can be impulsive, can have an accident. That can be an issue. Let me see, 1, 2, 3. Mars is in a harmonious aspect to the moon, so that means that whatever you do, you'll have like, it'll be very secure. So like there'll be action along with emotional security. And Mercury is in the, let me see, oh, the moon is in the third house, so in communication, neighborhoods, children, because it's also tied to Leo, siblings. So secured movements or secured actions around these types of ideas. But it also, let me see, 2, 3, yeah. So that's mainly what Gemini risings are going to be doing for the week, indirectly with mm, Uranus retrograde, because the sun is in the same house as Venus. The sun and Venus can create like people who are very creative, usually are very happy or at ease with relationships, but it creates a hard aspect to Uranus, so it could create some harsh energy at home or hidden things, dynamics at home that could be an issue. Um, Especially with like Uranus in the 12th house. So Uranus in the 12th house, what it can do, it can kind of like make a distortion, because the 12th house is great for retrospection, but it can create a distortion, like with secrets or things that you thought could be held safe or kept secret, or something that you don't want shared. It also create like being very perceptive, or like having like a sixth sense or like hunches, and nervous issues. So secret lovers, secret money, secret children, hidden secret children, things like that, you know. That's what you see with this, because the sun comes in the same place as this. Secrets around work or authority figures, career, resources, stalls in the future. It's interesting. I guess that explains why I picked up on Portuguese learning than before. Yeah, because it's in a harmonious, this is actually a great time to do stuff like that right now, especially if you already got something here to do that. So yeah, that's a good time to kind of learn that. And if you have any harmonious aspects with like Sag or anything, because like, okay, technically, let me see something, because I don't necessarily subscribe to like houses kind of mean the same thing as planets. They can have similarities, but the houses have distinct things that are distinct, you know. So again, Pluto in the 9th house deals with transformation, the transformation in like religion, or wanting to dive deeper into like spiritual practices and stuff like that. Like that's what we talked about, or like knowledge or spirituality. But it also deals deeper with like journeys or endings to journeys, endings with passengers, or sense of adventure. But it deals with new frontiers, learning outside of yourself, or traveling outside of yourself, or dealing with foreigners or relationships to foreign energy. So knowledge tied to foreign energy. You have Pluto there, so it is creating a harmonious aspect for willpower, and in learning, higher learning. So you do have a strong placement to learn a foreign language, technically. So not a secret street baby. That is so funny. But in theory, something like that could pop up because it falls in line with that. A secret street baby. I'm dead. Wow. But yeah, so those all kind of go together, you know. And I believe Capricorn rules maps too. So it's Pluto in Capricorn. So maps, frontiers, foreigners. So in theory, depending how your natal chart is placed, Yes, based off of what's transiting, yes, you could learn a foreign language. I don't know what you have in your natal placement, like your chart, to like actually sit here and go like start to cross multiply and all of this stuff. But yeah, this is what you're gonna deal with around the 24th, around the 27th, because that's the new moon. New moon in Virgo. Yeah, so Mars is still in the first house. At this point, it's trine Jupiter. So you're going to be in a situation where your friend, there could be distortions in, this is, okay. There can be distortions in friend groups or your hopes and dreams where things aren't clearly pegged out, or there could be like a deception, or being caught in a trap. This could also be good for creativity because Neptune is in Pisces, but Jupiter in the 11th house brings friends or people who can help you in groups that can create assistance or luck for you, like good luck. So Mars trine Jupiter, friends or groups that bring good luck. That makes sense. It's also, yeah, so it's still trine Mercury, still in a hard aspect to the sun. So yeah, but it brings like harmony with other people. It brings luck. Let me see. Boop, boop. Yeah. So that means the sun and the moon creates the, so whatever that hidden thing that's going on with your home, family, mother, women, the sun, it creates a hard aspect to your ascendant. So issues with identity, issues with emotions, creating a hard aspect to personality. You do have fortune here, so it does create some luck, but, and you still have it trying to Jupiter, but Jupiter in 11th house, Neptune's there. Neptune's is this a weird distortion with friends and help, because 11th house can also mean like where to go for help, and so maybe you're not getting as much help as you thought you were going to get. So, but yeah, dealing hidden, like it's a hidden aspect of people thinking that they're correct, or, but yeah, issues with women and identity, family, and Venus is here, so love, issues with money, because it's in the Uranus is right up here for Uranus, so the secrets, and it's in the 4th house too, so it aspects the 12th house aspects the 4th house. So the 12th house has a Uranus retrograde thing that deals with secrets coming back around that you thought were buried, or things that you didn't want out, coming down to the 4th house. 4th house deals with what's hidden. Leo deals with lovers, children, personality, attention. Virgo, because it leaps in here with the sun and the moon, deals with health, shyness, having to go things alone, nervous issues. Can also deal with work, you know, deals with analyzing things or trying to correct things, not speaking up when you should, writings, like things like that. So that's what you're going to deal with, like secrets or something getting out from things that are hidden, you know, or shocks and changes happening to things that are hidden, or to your family or home. But it's in retrograde. It's things from like the past. Any questions? Yeah, because in a few days, the moon's going to come down here, and they're going to conjunct each other. And so that's going to create somebody who will be a good public speaker, but also someone who could also be confused. And so they'll be expressing themselves, and they can also be kind of grandiose or like indulgent, or not too lackadaisical where they're not seeing things, but also it's going to oppose Neptune, so not seeing the issue for what it is. So like not seeing the deception, confusion. There'll be a lot of emotion and confusion by the 28th because Neptune comes here. So it's in the sign of Libra, which deals with relationships, partnerships, lovers and soulmates and stuff like that, business partnerships. And then it opposes these two in the signs of Aries, like competition. Pisces deals with like oneness, compassion, but it can also deal with like getting caught in a snare, getting caught in a trap, unconsciousness, being a victim. So it could be a victim of something, or getting caught in something, or having like issues with boundaries. Yeah, you try to, because the 11th house, you try to make friends with people who are good for you, because this aspect is weak here. Because you do have people who are lucky for you, but you also have people who are deceptive. And I'm pretty sure by this week, because of how the oppositions happen and how they exact, you'll probably figure it out. And I'll show you, because it's gonna the moon moves very fast. Boom. This is what I'm talking about. You see how this right here, they conjunct, and then they oppose Jupiter. They oppose Jupiter. They oppose Neptune. So it could be an issue. I'm speculating it probably will be. Because Jupiter in the 11th house is usually really great, because you can have influential friends, networking, luck. But when it's in a hard aspect to the moon, you know, indulgent, not seeing things for what they are because you're too optimistic. Because so whatever this type of deception is, or if it's something not, even if it's no one's being deceptive, but you're not seeing things clearly, it's going to kind of hit you off track, because you got Neptune and Jupiter there. Especially with like friends, networking, groups, hopes and dreams, even if it's just a dream that you had because it's something that you did not anticipate. You know, I would try to, this is why you surround yourself with good people, or like good friends or network, because they can help whatever the distortion or what you're not seeing, you know. And technically speaking, with in a sign like Mercury, there could also be fights and arguments with, like, outside of lovers, it could also be like siblings or neighbors or relatives and stuff like that. So yeah, you have to be careful of people draining your energy. You cannot be too trusting. Don't try not to be an enabler, because they're going to drain you dry. But this, you can feel like disoriented or confused. You have to be careful of people trying to draw on your sympathies. But yeah, there could be issues with like home and water and stuff like that. But yeah, somebody trying to be slick. Because that's what it is. They're trying to be slick. But yeah, partnerships. Could deal with work because of Virgo. With the moon, with the Mercury is in Libra. So dealing with partnerships, mediation, art. Neptune is in Pisces, so lack of boundaries, getting caught in a trap, oneness, the universe, God. Jupiter is in Aries, so challenges, battles. A lot of times, sometimes dealing with adversities or bullies or people being antagonistic, and that's in a group setting. Is it good for love, relationship, and business for Leos right now? Hold on, baby. We're going to finish up with the Geminis, and you're right after Gemini because you came in. I think you came in last to everyone else. So yeah, you came in after Sailor Mermaid. So you're after this one. Drain you dry in what way? Energy vampires. Yeah, like it's weird because they think like with a Gemini rising, they think they gonna come off like they really mean it well, but they're really just running game. Now, is all of their friends or the network that Sailor Mermaid built bad? No, but does it mean that some of them are going to be sneaky? Yes. Yes. There's deception or things aren't being clear. That's why she can't be an enabler or enable behaviors. Because it's like the 11th house also can mean like the black sheep of the family, or someone who's ostracized from a group, or someone that's from a different culture as well. And it's opposed to your 5th. So stage presence, being the center stage, children, lovers, romance, creativity mostly. But so dealing with stuff like that, so they should have to be careful, because you're thinking people want to mean well and they're not meaning well, because 11th house also means where you go for help. So that's the messed up part, because she's gonna think that she can run to them for help and she cannot. Gotta keep them at arm's length. Yeah, some people you really just got to. But yeah, any questions for Gemini risings before we get into Leo? Any questions? I think that's good. Okay. Alrighty. Alright, Leo risings. Y'all really shouldn't be getting hit by the oh yes y'all are, because y'all are fixed. My bad. Oh. Okay. Yeah, so y'all gonna get hit really directly with the Uranus retrograde, because you're fixed as well. So Yeah. Because Venus in the first house can mean like, I guess you could say like a luxurious, popular person. And it's in Leo, and so like Leo like nice things anyway, like fancy things. I guess you could kind of say like, what is the word? Grandiose, but like impulsive spending, impulsive things that are tied to money and romance. You know. So it's going to be in a thing with Uranus, and so Uranus in the 10th house means disruption and disruption in career. Disruption in the career. Yeah. Status, something like reputation or status. So it could be like a rumor, but it could also be like a job or career issue. Also can mean your job can be stifling and you might not like it. This could be an extension of change, wanting freedom, but you have to be careful when you're changing career under this aspect that you want freedom, because it's going to retrograde, so that you're going to have a hard aspect that deals with money. So money might be an issue, because right now Venus is in the first house, so wanting nice things, wanting luxurious things, not it right now. Yeah, I get it. Also could deal with rumors, because the 10th house is reputation. So if you have Uranus there, which is shock, surprises, sometimes rebellion, and deals with technology, you could deal with or like forms of communication. You could deal with like a rumor, someone who is talking. So yeah, let me see. Um Cause yeah, with the Uranus and Venus thing, it could cause love at first sight, but it could cause like basically changes in relationships, or like it could you can get money, or you could get like an issue with money. So it's like either you get money or you lose money quickly. There's no in between, because Uranus is about like shocks. So shocking issues with money, or like, either get it, or like an expense pops up, or you find $20 or something like that. But usually that's what that indicates. It's like a windfall, but Uranus is about turbulence, a lack of stability, you know. But yeah. Let's see. You also have Venus in a hard aspect to the South Node, and the sign of Scorpio in the 4th house. So the home life is intense or severe, or the home life has a lot of hidden aggression, a lot of or like a lot of things that you keep hidden that can be aggressive, or a lot of hidden desires. But the money, the socialization, popularity, things that are in excess, that are material, you like them though. That's the problem. So your home life is at odds with the career. So you know, or the hidden emotions are at odds with Uranus. So having to deal with the karma of like sudden endings, beginnings, and having issues that zip ties to a home, or things that you keep hidden. It could be family as well, because that's considered like hidden and intimate. Things that you hide, or that's not public, a family could be one, because even though you go outside with them, it's not like most people don't put their family outside. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's not, a thing. But it could be like a domestic issue, or like a secret. Trying to find the strength to go on, or whatever. Or like family secrets. It could be like a baby, or having a baby. Or like, sometimes it's emotion, so like moodiness, or whatever. But it ties to that. So, but they're opposing each other. So it's like, I want a new career, but I have this issue at home, or this issue that's private. But the issue that's private is opposing the freedom or transformation that I feel like I can have in my career. But you have to be careful, because again, the placements where these are can inspire rumors, or like a distortion in your reputation. So you shouldn't be just jumping out the window, because it's like issue in your reputation can occur. So you have to be careful. Hopefully that makes sense. But issue. Let's see. What over here? I'm staying cool. Yeah. You probably gonna have to, dear, because you gonna have to. Boom, 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 boom. Let's go look over here. Alrighty. So let's go look at the moon. So your moon is in Cancer in the 12th house. So gut impressions, intuition, psychism, having to get away from negative people, hidden negative people, because the 12th house deals with things that you can't overtly see, or hidden family tradition, or hidden domestic activities, or things that are tied to women and family, or home, or tradition. But your sixth sense, like, you sense that something is going though. Did probably like a deception, because the 12th house can deal with like hidden enemies and deception. Very creative though. Can be very creative. But you have Pluto opposing that in the 12th house. So when Pluto is in the 6th house, it deals with like power struggles at work, power issues of getting into like tips, like job conflicts and stuff with like coworkers and supervisors. But the moon coming, like the hidden deception, is opposing the Pluto. And so you're going to have intense emotions, difficult or controlling women or relatives. Women and relatives can be controlling, can be subjective, because Pluto in the moon can make subjectivity. Changes or relocation or cleaning the home. This Pluto means like stripping away. Moon means home. So a hidden controlling relative, or someone who is hidden and controlling. And it's not necessarily you being controlling, but it could come from like a hidden element of family. But it's conjunct to your first house, so it can be like you being deceptive, or someone's trying to emotionally deceive you without your consent or knowledge. 12th house deals with the subconscious as well, or like the unconscious, so things like that, unconsciously deceptive or something like that. Yeah, because the 6th house is with career. It deals with your health, servicing others, or charity. Capricorn deals with authority figures, resources, being deceptive about resources, lying about resources, something like that. Something like that, you know. Feeling like other people are controlling resources. It's something, one of those phrases is what it is. And you know what it is. Moon is in soft aspect with Mars. Emotionally secured actions. So actions are good. Getting help from these people, which could be siblings, neighbors, games, writing, speaking, retail, playing, things like that. Being social, being curious, but getting help. Quick learning and education. Moon is in soft aspect with Mercury. Good speaking can be persuasive. Persuasive communication. Still dealing with siblings. Still dealing with neighbors. Because Mercury is about siblings and neighbors. Seems like your siblings can't really have your back. Because their Mars is in a harmonious aspect with the Mercury. Yeah, like a sibling or a neighbor or someone like that or relative can have your back. Although there could be somebody who could be like sneaky or something. Something like that. Venus in harmonious aspect with MC. Money, being popular at work, a career, the reputation of popularity. But Chiron is conjunct. So processing, healing, you know, having to heal reputation, having to process the reputation, which can make sense, especially if there's a possibility of a rumor. And it's in the sign of Aries, so having to defend yourself. Contemplation is conjunct to your MC. Illness and grief, redemption, having to redeem your or defend your reputation, because Aries can be like defending yourself or taking on challenges. Bullies, so people trying to bully your reputation, bully your career, bullying authority figures, things like that. Let's see. First house, Venus in a hard aspect to South Node. Yeah. Hidden things in the family, hidden emotions, hidden desires, hidden aggression. I'm in love with an Aries. Yeah. Well, the healing thing could be conjuncting here. So love of reputation, that makes sense. Because Venus is here and is going here. And that deals with redemption. It deals with processing or trying to heal. Like the mind, body, and spirit. Aries deals with sexuality, particularly like lust. Healing lust. Things like that. But it's conjunct here. So a reputation. She might be tied to your reputation. Something like that. Because it pushes into here. Because Chiron deals with healing and teaching. It pushes into the 10th house. Deals with parents, like authority figures. So it could deal with like the mother, the father. It could deal with medicine. Or like a painful issue. Like medicines or accidents. Or like healing from something or pain. Responsibility. But yeah, Venus is quincunx the South Node. The South Node in the 4th house, again, having hidden desires, hidden aggression. But it's quincunx Chiron. Oh, you're healing from a leg injury. Well, good luck, dear. You know, hopefully everything is going well. Well, since it's in Aries, she's probably helping you. She's probably helping you. Because Scorpio rules things that once thought dead, or healing through desire, healing through the depths of passion. It's quincunx, the Chiron. Struggling with passion. Struggling with transformation through desire. Hidden aggression. Hidden sexual desires. I'm trying to marry her. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Well, good luck, dear. Hopefully it's everything's going great between you guys. Let me see something. Oh, dang. Y'all don't get mad, but I really should have put that on for everybody. That makes sense because you have fifth house and VX. VX means fated occurrences. Sag rules legs. Fifth house rules lovers. It's trying to Venus, but it's trying to MC. That's funny. Y'all don't get mad though. But yeah, I should have put that on for this too, to see the aspects to like a fated occurrence, but like, you know. But y'all don't get mad. Yikes. But I will make sure I have that on next week when I come back for like VX or whatever. But yeah, no, this, you know what, that actually makes sense now that you have Venus opposed Saturn, because like you came in late, but if you had listened to me with other people with fixed signs who are getting kind of swept up in your Uranus retrograde, I was telling them like, okay, when Uranus and Saturn are opposing, it can mean more commitment, and sometimes it means that people get married. I know it sounds weird because like you see this green thing right here under the Leo sign, and you see this Saturn right here. It can mean like marriage and commitment and wanting to get serious with people, especially since Saturn is in your 7th house. But you came in late. But I was telling them that if you are a fixed sign, like when you see this, when you see Saturn, Venus, even if it's in a hard aspect, people can get very serious and they want to get married. They want to like take things to the next level. But yeah, but that makes sense. But it seems like you have hidden things that aren't anticipated that can make it bring an issue as to why you cannot move to the next level with this woman from the past. Because Saturn is retrograded. Also, Uranus is retrograded. So hidden things that you did not anticipate that is keeping you from moving forward. But yeah. I know what it is. See, yeah. But yeah, I can see it because, you know, you came in late, but when you have the Venus and the Saturn and hard aspects, people want to get married. People want to, you know, going through my divorce. Oh, see? Yeah. That makes sense too. All right, let's see what the new moon looks like for the Leos. It's slowing me up, boy. Well, I hope it works out for you, and hopefully to a speedy divorce, you know. But it's good that you found somebody that cares about you, you know. Let's see. I already talked about that. Okay. Okay. Alrighty, so you have Jupiter inside in the ninth house. Well, that's good though. Usually, when they together, that's harmonious. You do have Neptune there. Cause see, Neptune can be good, but it needs to be good in a house where it's good at. You know, if not, it's just a mess. It's very confusing. It creates a lot of distortion. Because Neptune in the ninth house is trying to get to questions of faith or life purpose or spirituality. Questioning those things, because Neptune is a distortion. So you in the ninth house deals with faith. You want to have an answer to the questions of like life. Since it's in Pisces too, it can deal with dreams as well. Dreams and studying. Photography or anything creative, but like photography, writing, spoken words, like poetry. But yeah, like that's when you feeling confused about where you are in life or the spirituality or like, you know how people like asking the questions of life, like what's the meaning of life and blah blah blah. That's when you think of that, like the confused part of it, think of Neptune in the ninth house. That's kind of how that operates, which is not bad, because Jupiter in the ninth house, like in these placements, it has the idea is seeking the answer. They like to seek answers. So this is a good place to not know something or be confused, because then you also have a placement like with Jupiter there. You want to go find the answer. Good. Go find it. It's not like the other signs, because the other signs, like if you listen long enough, when I was reading about Neptune in these placements, it's like, okay, like Gemini's with like Sailor Mermaid, okay, somebody is your friend, but that's not your friend. That's not the distortion I want. That's usually not the distortion people want, because it's distortion of like the people around you, like groups, or distortion of like friends. But having a distortion of like spirituality or having to go on a spiritual journey with Sag there, because Sag wants to get to the answers. Ninth house wants to get to the answers or the meaning of life. That's good. You go over there. You don't want distortion where there's it should be chill, you know. You also like Jupiter's there, so that's good. Because Jupiter in the ninth house is knowledge, perspective, spirituality, wanting to be enlightened. Could also be summoned for jury duty. You know, getting into like something legal where you have to show up legally. But this could be good because it can imply harmony, humor, being kind, getting resources or money at work or love at work. Could have fell in love in your career because of Venus aspects to MC. Let me see. Yeah. Very communicative, very task oriented, detail oriented. Can communicate well. Your personality matches communication, it matches your mind. Yeah. Any questions? Any questions? Just want to know. Just want to know what? When things will turn around. Well, you kind of have to be specific because they all mean things, but I need you to tell me what I'm looking at. Also, keep in mind that this is generalized because this isn't your birth chart. This is like a general transit. So your birth chart can do other things with this on top. Money and relationship. Okay. Money. Okay, you need Venus to move out of Leo right now because it's bumping up with the Uranus thing. So that means instability. So that means you can get money quickly, and then the money or your money can like leave quickly. It's not like steady money. Like you need Leo to, because you see how Leo's Venus in Leo. Okay, you needed to come out of it to like a more harmonious aspect. So we know that Venus is in, or we know that Uranus is in the 18th degree of Taurus. Okay, so you needed to hit for Venus to be, or money, because Venus can rule money, to be more harmonious with this part right here, because Uranus and Taurus, because Taurus rules banks, money, the things you own. For it to be the shocks and shifts in money to be more harmonious, you need Venus to be in Virgo. Venus is in Leo right now. So let me see, when do it go into Virgo? Venus in Leo. You see, it should go in there like sometime in September. So around September 20th. Now I don't know what's in your natal chart there, but it's around September 20th. It becomes exactly trine to the weird aspect or the harsh aspect of Uranus right now. So that's what you want. For money and relationship wise, like a divorce. See, a divorce is like when a divorce can imply like Pluto. You have to think of a couple of things, but like Pluto crossing over the 7th, Saturn crossing over the 7th and into the 7th. But then I would have to see what your natal chart look like. But we'll use this as an example. This isn't clearly defined because I don't know what your like descendant is. But when you have like Uranus or something like that crossing or aspecting the 7th hard, okay, technically speaking, you already have Uranus making an aspect to Saturn that you want. So that's Saturn making an instability in 7th house, which deals with legal matters, marriage contracts. Saturn is here. You're going to want, I'm going to tell you, you're probably going to want for Saturn to come out of the 7th house. Depending on what is in your birth chart. So Saturn is at what? 20 degrees of Aquarius. Let's see. I don't even know. Oh, I know what to do. Because you have to see when it comes out, and then it has to go back around. But let me see. Saturn 18. Sun 20. You probably want to go up into Aquarius. You probably do. So, I mean, up into Pisces. October. My probably gonna be next year though. I'm not gonna hold you. Yeah, so like around April 2023, like around there, like March, April. That's when it start this part right here moves that way. Because a retrograde means it was here, then it goes back, then it goes back, and then it comes out. That's why you have this hard aspect. Although technically it is a good aspect for divorce. I know that sounds weird. Because Saturn in the 7th house, it does mean more commitment technically. But with Uranus there in the retrograde, it destabilizes it. So Uranus retrograding this week can help to stabilize past technically contracts. Past things like that. Especially with a retrograde. Because Saturn in the 7th can have people making demands of you, of like demanding your time, I guess. But it's a good time to end relationships, especially relationships from the past, because retrograde means to do things over. So this could also be marriage though, so to deal with these over, but hopefully you'll be able to get out of there. But this doesn't come out of the 7th house until next year. But this Uranus right here distorting it, like the Uranus actually creates more instability here. So it can either mean one or two things. The divorce can get, and I wouldn't know this unless I'm looking at your chart, your divorce can get harder, or under the retrograde that's happening this week, you can make more progress with the contract, because the 7th house rules marriage. It rules marriage contracts. You know, alliances, contractual relationships. So I wouldn't know unless I look at your chart, but to be like to get more and more specific. But what you're looking for is it to come out of this degree range, but it can't because it's retrograded. Now this is retrograded too, which I don't know how well it's going to help because this is still here, but I digress. And they move slow, so you know, it really depends. But yeah, so I think I only have Pisces, no problem there. Pisces, Sag, Libra. Pisces, Sag, and Libra. Virgo. Pisces, Sag, Libra, Virgo. Are there any Pisces, Sag, Libras, and Virgo risings? I'm just saying, put your own feds. Y'all are so silly. Real one. Oh, thanks, guys. That's sweet. Okay, so if we don't have any more questions, I am going to wrap up the stream, and I'll probably come back and do the other 3 or 4 in a few days. Because technically I'll probably come back on the retrograde and do it on the 24th, because that's actually when I'm actually talking about, like, most of the action happens in the later part of the week, to be honest, from 24th on back. So but yeah, I got my turban on right now. That's funny, because I'm getting hungry. And I've been on here for a while, so I might have to do a part 2. Okay, so does anyone have any more questions before I come off of here? Because if not, then you can catch the part 2, and I'll do that one too. All right, y'all. Well, y'all be safe. You have a good week. I will see y'all in a couple of days, and I'll do the rest of the risings and answer any other questions, because it's kind of perfect, because it really lines up for the 24th. I will timestamp the video just in case y'all have to come back and listen to anything to refresh your memory or whatever. But yeah, okay. But yeah, y'all have a good night. Peace. Love y'all.